Hello and welcome back to my channel What If Deku 2.0. Join us as we delve into the realms of fanfiction and fantasy, bringing you the best stories and discussions. Today we're kicking off part 20 of our series, What If Deku Became the Villain Emperor? If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content in the future. The author of this story is DekuVerse from Archive of Our Own. All the relevant links are in the description. Feel free to say hello to the author on their profile. Now let's dive into the fanfic. It has been few months now since Villain Academy started operating, and Rabbit, they didn't use their real names, and the school decided that she somewhat liked the place. After about a month in the Villain Academy, Rabbit had almost managed to stop hyperventilating on certain occasions. What's more surprising than that to her is that in fact, the number of occasions warranting said hyperventilating had also decreased exponentially. It was strange, but the good type of strange. The type that had her not try to jump through the closest window and run for the hills ASAP. That was good, she had to admit. Rabbit didn't really plan to become a villain. Technically she wasn't one in the eyes of the law, funny enough. She didn't use a quirk in her revenge plan, so she was a criminal at best. The law was so unreasonable sometimes. But somehow she was now officially a D-rank villain, and she had no idea what to do with that. To be honest, she agreed to the whole Villain Academy thing that Guarangai told her about because she heard that it was a guaranteed accommodation and a way of disappearing under the radar. She was way too hungry and sore after sleeping in the alleyways and abandoned buildings to care for anything else. Plus she faked it until she made it, so why not go ahead and become something big like Green Rabbit, her absolutely worshipped idol, and show them what she was made of? She was ready to come to school again if it meant food and roof under her head for some time. But what she wasn't ready for, what she didn't expect, is for this school to be so different. Yes, different is the best way to put it. The principal was something. She didn't know what to think of the voice behind the monitor with screens and microphones everywhere projecting the man's voice at every second. Day one he spoke in the big auditorium as a voice-only screen. And even then his opening was enough to make them jump from their seats, because he started with a proper supervillain cackle that would put Karma-sama to shame, which holy hell that was cool, and somehow Rabbit was from the very few students that didn't wet themselves. She actually took pride in that. Then he went on explaining the rules to everyone and how they should behave unless they wanted him to get nasty, and she could somehow image a faceless cruel smile when he said that part. She could tell everyone got the message very well. That was their principal, a ghost who for the past while cackled into the microphones and screens at random times, scaring the shit out of many people, but she likes him for reasons to be explained soon enough. The homeroom teacher looked scary and was an S-rank villain. He introduced himself as such, but shockingly he was much better than any teacher she ever had. Which was honestly sad. He also helped Rabbit when she had a panic attack and got some medications for her that was supposed to make her anxiety lessen slightly, and it worked. Holy Green Rabbit, it worked. And not only did Kurogiri-sensei say that he is there for Rabbit if she ever wanted to talk, but he actually was there when she asked for it. He nodded at her, he listened, and did so much more. It was incredibly confusing. Even her parents didn't treat her like that. Always working, mostly ignoring him after the diagnosis and so on. And that was a villain, a supervillain in fact. That made absolutely no sense, but she wouldn't question it, lest she jinxed herself. Other students were somehow way more scary than the teacher, but not even close to their faceless ghost principal. Some even more than her old bullies. They didn't do anything to her though. Kurogiri-sensei said that he doesn't care what they do to each other after graduation, but if someone does anything to anyone else while in this school without the other side's consent, he is going to get nasty. He ended up having to prove it since some didn't seem fazed. The get nasty threat meant getting a personal CQC lesson with Karma, the villain emperor of evil. The student in question returned looking like he just saw God, which he did after visiting him in person. He was limping for days afterwards, and it was hilarious actually. But then it got even more confusing to her. But then after few lessons, a month actually, she was cordially invited to the principal's office, and she terrified shitless if she was being honest. The doors were massive and she could just feel malevolence oozing from the office, but she pushed through and knocked on the door, and it was opened by possibly a green-haired beauty with the most kind smile Rabbit ever saw in her life. She went inside, where there was another woman, same level of beauty, same smile, pouring some coffee into the mug of the man in the desk. And her heart almost stopped. There was something about the masked man, a dark helmet. Was it just her, or that was that Darth Vader's helmet, hiding his face? The man invited her to sit. And somehow she did so without completely losing her shit. He introduced himself as Mr. Principal, and that he saw her skills, mainly what a quick learner she was, and how great her quirk analysis were, and that it was a great pleasure for him to personally correct. It was shocking, and out of the blue, was he serious? She was Rabbit. A timid, worthless little girl. She was barely 13. She got here by making Guran think she's 16, but apparently she was outed day one, but kept because she was actually smart, which she needed a while to unpack. Anyways, point is, Mr. Principal said that she was to take personal lessons from him on quirk analysis, mastermind skills, tactical skills, strategizing skills, organization and leadership. Something strange is that whenever she spoke he looked cheerful? Nostalgic? Hard to tell with the helmet and voice changer, but his posture looked amused. The two women were busy cooking at how cute she was. Then he told her he knows she was quirkless. She honestly was 1 second away from a full-blown panic attack and a heart attack until Mr. Principal put his shockingly big and kind hand on top of her head, ruffled her hair and told her that he doesn't care in the slightest. It was shocking, it was confusing. He didn't care she didn't have an analysis quirk? He still saw something worth his time in her? It was a hard pill to swallow, but she did. It was strange. But she decided to go along with it. The months passed quickly, and honestly, Rabbit was happy, as in actually happy. Their curriculum was pretty fun actually. Vampire was super cool and super strong, and Rabbit definitely enjoyed learning Naifu from her, as she put it, as well as disguises. Stain was intimidating, but she learned after her time with Mr. Principal to go along with it, and, well, she did go along with it. He was stern but definitely a fair teacher, and surprisingly she got most of the praise, oddly enough, because apparently her blade chose her and obeys her, and as he said, which was probably his way in saying that her katana because like an extension of her arms. And oddly enough she was quick at picking that up. Razor was what you'd call a carefree teacher. She showed them how to wield guns, how to shoot, but didn't seem as invested. She did her job and nothing more, but she did seem to pick interest in why in the actual hell Rabbit learned how to shoot after getting the precise instructions. Yes, she did stumble and the gun's recoil was hard, but apparently she picked it up much faster than anyone. She ended up asking Razor Sensei for a bigger set of guns, which possibly made everyone fear her for pulverizing the training dummies with her automatic weapons. Karma came on few occasions, shockingly enough. Mostly to teach them the basics of on-the-fly quirk analysis by making them fight him while he was using a quirk, but he didn't tell them what the quirk was. She was able, after he defeated 6 of her classmates, to realize that it was impact recoil, because whatever they did with him would go back on them. The key to fight a quirk like that is by slashing at him instead of slashing him, so she tried to slash him with her katana, then snuck in with a gunshot, because apparently he couldn't recoil attacks he didn't see coming. She got full grade for her fight with him. She felt actually happy with that. Her idol literally gave her a pat on the head and said she did good, while whispering in her ear that he saw himself in her. She was on cloud 9 ever since then. Something strange about the whole thing is that somehow she had friends for a while now, which was more odd somehow, because she never had friends before. The first one was a girl named Magician. And by her age she should be Mr. Compress's daughter by all means, because she was a literal magician with cool quirk that could make things stored into her pocket dimension. She salivates over that quirk and mostly uses that to pickpocket Stain without him noticing. She could store people too. And parts of them, which was scary actually. She could store an area of space, but it takes few seconds. The second one was a boy, and honestly it was as if that Gigantomachia from the HPSC HQ destruction was his dad. Not that she judged, he was super quiet. His name was Juggernaut. He was large. Massive. He always was wearing a tank top and had really rough facial features. His chin was practically square. His skin was coarse, like it couldn't decide if it was skin or stone, which honestly made her wonder if it was a mutation to his quirk or just random complex mutation. He didn't talk a lot, if at all, seemed to be their anti-jerk statue. But he was hanging out with them. The last one was a loud and way too touchy girl, at least for Rabbit's taste. Her name was Toxicity. Black hair with strands of hair in various colors. She had some blue, and some pink ones, and colorful nails. Also she had several small pink stars tattooed under her eyes. Large, wireless headphones, of course, colorful, mostly pink and blue on either her head or neck. She was, as stated, loud, obnoxious even, and super cheerful, which made her besties with Magician, and they both liked Mr. Compress and Gentle Criminal, which she did share with them actually. Shadow Empire. Karma? Hello everyone, I'm happy that everyone is here by now. Today is going to be important for the Shadow Empire, so to speak. Mightless? Reaper? Shield Maiden? Prism? Consequence? Mr. Compress? Karma? But first we need someone important to start this talk. Karma sent invitation to Mr. Principal. Mr. Principal accepted the invitation. Mr. Principal joined the group chat under the default name Mr. Principal. Mr. Principal. Oh hello ladies and gentlemen. Karma. Switch to your actual villain name please, the chat is the most secure, unhackable by even Nedzu. Mr. Principal, alright. Mr. Principal switched their name to All for One. All for One? Haven't used the name in a while. Mightless. www Oh. Karma. Mikoto-san, it's been 10 minutes, are you done hyperventilating? Mightless. I know your love for sadism and cruel dark jokes, but you could have given a heads up. I almost had a heart attack and Cure had to talk me through a full-blown panic attack. Still shaking though. Karma. Off. All for One? Well, at least I didn't lose it lol. Reaper. Cool. Shield Maiden. Future father-in-law, could you please tone it down? Shield Maiden. Consequences here, and you're scaring her almost mother to super death. Don't kill your future sister-in-law please. Consequence? Well, you're not wrong there, tongue sticking out. All for One. All for One? Well, when you put it like that. Yes, I'll tone it down. Sweat drops. Mightless, thank you. DX. Reaper, so why are we here? Prism, besides that it's important? Mr. Compress, grabs popcorn. All for One. It's been a few months since the Villain Academy started. All for One. We progress much faster than the hero schools thanks to the fact that we do not need to bother ourselves with providing high-quality conventional education alongside more practical stuff. All for One. Although we aren't entirely without it, education's still important, but we only give necessities. All for One. There is also the part where our students all have practical skills, and the teachers just had to improve on them. Some are straight prodigies shockingly. All for One. The first pilot classes are making steady progress, and some are making way to fast. All for One. As a result, I decided that it might be the correct time to start the internships. Most of them will find those among the smaller crews through the R.R., but I thought a handful were talented enough that we might want to hold on to them. Karma. Don't reference the damn name even with letters, damn it. Reaper, it's shameful. All for One. No, tongue sticking out. Mightless, a few months? That's actually pretty fast. Excuse me for asking, but how exactly does your school work? Mightless. I'm fascinated and could use that for our training regimes. All for One. I have practically, with the support of multiple rich people, built an anti-U campus. We have dorms built to suit the need of students. We also have multiple facilities to train their quirks and bodies. We even have some entertainment branches. Mightless, magnificent. All for One. I also have now 60 students. Took a while to comb through the backstories and check them with mental reading quirks, but now we have 60 students that will be the new generation of menaces to society. All for One. Initially, the active teachers were just Kurogiri, homeroom teacher of the class 1A, and 2 unmentioned teachers like him, vampire opening disguises, street smarts etc., Stain, knife handling and mastery along with swords, Razor with guns, and Lady Nagant with sniper lessons, and Rappa as the quirkless combat teacher. All for One. After a month, I've also begun to further specialize certain school plans. Karma? Already? Thought at least until second year? All for One. You'll be surprised how good some of these kids are. Reaper, cool. Shield Maiden, what about the support course? All for One. It'll start next year, my dear. Couldn't advertise it fast enough this year, unfortunately. Sweat drops. Shield Maiden, it's fine, smiley face. Prism, Consequence, Mightless. You were really tamed, huh? Oh. All for One, apparently. But so are you, tongue sticking out. Mightless, fair. All for One. Current main specializations are combat, espionage and command. All for One, before I forget. Mr. Compress, is it possible for the A.U to borrow La Brava from your crew for some lessons? Espionage and command courses might benefit from hacking and general computer lessons. Mr. Compress, oh, she'll be positively delighted by the prospect. Just tell the students to ignore it when she starts talking about how Gentle is the best man ever every 15 minutes. All for One. Gentle Criminal is free to join too. I know how dangerous and unpredictable of a combatant he is. Having the students experience fighting a diverse cast of opponents will be extremely useful to them. All for One. Not telling them what his quirk is and having them figure it out on their own sounds like a good idea for an exercise too. Karma? Oh, like you had me fight kids with only impact recoil with that one girl almost actually beating me? Prism? Oh. Mr. Compress? Oh. Reaper? Oh. Mightless? Oh. Shield Maiden? Oh. All for One, exactly like that one. I'm positively adoring that one little girl. She is my personal student actually. Memories. Reaper. Do we expect a second coming of the boss? All for One, who knows? Happy face. Karma. Great, so now that we have these done, The candidates? All for one, naturally. The first one is Toxicity, of the combat course. 17 years old, victim of villainous quirk designation and her own quirk side effects. Her entire body is to a various degree poisonous. Contact with skin causes really nasty hives, bodily fluids cause chemical burns on contact, breath can knock someone unconscious when up close, and her nails and teeth are pretty much lethal when they pierce the skin. All for one, she was genuinely trying her best in school to make up for it. High grades before she escaped her home due to abuse. No friends, no one wanted to befriend a living chemical weapon, just acquaintances. Karma, ugh. Mindless, ugh. Mr. Compress, ugh. All for one, on the street fell into a bad crowd, joined a small gang and ended up involved in several assault cases. One victim died of her poison, although this was another gangster and they started it. Reaper, I want her. Sounds like a relatable case and the Vanguard needs some reinforcements after the training camp mess. Mindless, wait, he can sound professional? Karma, yes. Reaper, F you. Mindless, focus on your 2D waifus, gamer boing. Prism, L. Shield Maiden, no. Mr. Compress, ah. Karma, Evil Cackles XD. All for one, Evil Cackles XD. Reaper, F you all, but I'm still taking the poison girl, so many possibilities with her as an assassin. Happy face. All for one, very well. All for one. Second one is Magician of the Espionage course. 16 years old, and a huge fan of Mr. Compress and more Aji Harima. Parents died in a hero versus villain battle when she was 2 years old. Foster parents failed to do their job properly, leading to her practically running off to the streets. Mr. Compress, I desire murder. All for one, I believe we can come to an accommodation to who gives the finishing blow. All for one, her quirk allows her to store practically any amount of objects after touching them in a pocket dimension of hers where it stays there unaffected by time itself. She made a cup of steaming ramen noodles disappear and next day summoned it still stealing like it was just laid, and could store an area of space though it takes few seconds by aiming with her hand. All for one, she is somewhat also a fan of Stain, so she has a big problem with those being unheroic. Before coming to AU, she apparently got into a fight with Yoroi Musha and practically stole his armor and hilariously enough clothes before somehow stealing all money from his agency, and left him some trash she had stored instead. Oh. Reaper, holy shit. Oh. Prism, are you kidding me? Oh. Mindless, cool. XD. Mr. Compress, my word. Issue with bad heroes with readiness to act on it, steals things very skillfully and can store things in areas with some seconds like me? I love her already. Gimme. All for one, very well, I'll talk about the payment for that on a private chat, Mr. Compress. Mr. Compress, happily. All four. The third one is Juggernaut of the combat course. 18 years old. Born to a family of small-time villains, self-educated himself through the internet apparently. 2'3" tall, looks tbh as if Gigantomachia had a child, believe it or not. Karma, I hate this very idea. Mindless, same shivers. All for one. Juggernaut's quirk makes him partially ignore Newton's third law. All for one, and for those who missed out on physics, I'm looking at you, Reaper. When he applies his force to something, he feels no rebound. So he can punch a stone boulder for days without his fists aching at the slightest. He can also entirely negate any impacts for as long as he moves in their direction when they occur, as his quirk perceives them as reactions to his movement. Karma, fascinating. All for one, indeed. He once had a meeting with a speeding truck. He made a step towards it right before impact, resulting in him being unharmed. Clothes were damaged though, while the truck was obliterated. All for one, his police record includes mostly general thuggery. I'd have counted him as a standard thug and not given him lots of thoughts, but as I said, self-educated. Good enough to ace the written portion of the entrance exam. He doesn't speak a lot and seems to embrace the image of the mindless thug, but he is way smarter than people give him credit for, according to Kurogiri. Reaper, sounds fun to have in here. And we might need someone to fight in melee properly when killing isn't involved. Vanguard Action Squad is interested. All for one, wonderful. The fourth one is Howler of the combat course. 18 years old for a few days now. Not said officially, but bits of her backstory seem to suggest that she was born as a result of ISP organized riot. Abandoned completely when 6 years old, and even earlier. It had to be rather harsh for her, considering the fact that she has been avoiding any non-mutants like her life depended on it. All for one, she was scavenging for food for several years, before some small-time villain group picked her up. All for one, complex mutant quirk of wolf variety because I couldn't fully tell. Fast reflexes, excellent tracking skills, incredibly wonderful sense of smell. Rather mean fangs. Can move quietly when needed and has an excellent sense of direction. All for one. Rather extreme issues with her own looks and extremely low self-esteem. Capable of talking, but unfortunately asocial to the point that Reaper might be a social butterfly in comparison. Loner. She has skills no questions asked, but getting her to function might be an achievement. Honestly, I'm not sure where to send her for internships, so I'm mentioning her here. Reaper. Relatable backstory, and I want to see Hypnosis' reaction to getting a wolf girl to the party. Win-win. I'll take her. Omega. Karma. You are really crazy with this recruitment drive, lol. Reaper. Need to bulk up for the Apocalypse War. PLF and MLA are no jokes either. Karma. Fair. All for one. The last one I believe will be of interest to Karma. Villain name Rabbit, 13 years old. Command course. Claims to have an analysis quirk, but she is actually quirkless, which is hilarious because she is extremely good at pretending. All for one. She was bullied in school, so she destroyed the school. Karma. She whaati. Oh. Shield Maiden. Oh. Prism wow. Mightless. Go get them, Rabbit. XD. Consequence. FYXD. Reaper. Holy shit, I like her already. Oh. All for one. Didn't you read her file at Karma? Karma. I think I did, but I was mostly focused on the quirk, so I skimmed the rest. Karma. What did she do? For all. All for one. Well, she placed surveillance in a handful of places in the school, caught the teachers enabling her bullying and of several other people too. On the tape, plus the director of the school doing some questionable things in his office to a girl. She was a minor. God damn it. All for one. And then she unleashed all of that on the internet one evening after her first year in junior high was over. All for one. Right after setting the school on fire. Karma. Holy F go. Mr. Compress. Words fail to describe my amazement. Mightless, I am very proud. Consequence I. All for one. Half of that pathetic excuse of an educational facility came down as a result, and the faculty was in too much trouble to bother repairing it. XD. All for one. She also blew up the house of her main bully with makeshift explosives, wounding the bully in the process, but I'm not sure if that was the plan. Several other bullies, not only hers, but also those bullying others that she found out through the surveillance, got either the recordings or some shameful bits of their past published as well. All for one. She hid her tracks quite well, but not well enough for Sir Night Eye to not track and eventually catch her. Mightless. Hisses in sympathy. Karma. Out of everyone they could put on the damn case, they had to pick him? I mean, come on, they should have been more worried about the school being shit to go after who exposed it. All for one. She is a bit of an escape artist. Bullies useful for once, so she managed to escape the hero that came to arrest her, but she had nowhere to go, so she ended up doing some small-time thievery to survive on the streets. All for one. Extreme anxiety and very low self-esteem, but she seems to have a knack for information analysis and is highly intelligent. Also, coincidentally, appears to be friends with Magician, Toxicity and Juggernaut. All for one. Though it feels more like they are some sort of rabbit protection squad, to quote a certain someone. All for one. Though all that amount of issues had lessened severely after I started our private lessons, it's why I said it brings back memories. She is easily first-class mastermind material and I vouch for her, and she is, since you already fought her at Karma, very skilled in combat. Karma. You know what, I like her already. Having an assistant might be helpful. I'm way too overworked these days. And separating friends isn't my thing to do either. Rabbit walked into the principal's office after school like she was doing for the past couple months now, and she feels confident enough about herself that she wasn't intimidated by the feeling of danger and not wanting to be there anymore. Ms. Inko and Ms. Ray are there too, doing their own thing, and Mr. Principal is sitting on his chair, but Rabbit would call it a throne in all honesty, seeing how dramatic he is, or to be more specific, melodramatic. But Rabbit was never a person to judge. So as she went to his desk, they exchanged polite greetings before she sat down. "Ah, young Rabbit, how is today going with you so far?" asked Sensei as she smiled. In her opinion, he was probably just a doting dad who likes spending time with little girls. "Extremely good if I say so myself. Today we had quirkless combat training, and I won today's tournament," started Rabbit just as snorted at her. "Although I'm beginning to think that QCQ is for some reason best for me." Sensei laughed, and honestly a while ago she would have jumped through the window despite there being no windows, but now she just giggled with her teacher. "On the opposite, you are just an extremely smart child with unbelievable learning speed and they couldn't keep up with your pace," said Sensei with a wave before putting down a go board between them. They did few gales, she lost them all, but considering who the person she suspects to be in front of her is, it shouldn't be surprising. So you know that internships are starting soon, right? Asked Sensei. She could practically feel he was smiling. She hummed in acknowledgement of his question. Any ideas who might send you an offer? There was one of the things she was leaning, development of foresight, not as a quirk but seeing the facts, and calculating the most likely thing to happen. She was oddly enough good at that. She was a second-league tactician already from what Sensei said, with potential for strategizing skills of similar level soon enough, with potential to reach first league in the future. Possibly some villain crew that has some strong people, but lacks the brains to be anything of importance because they are just meatheads, or some organization that has toes to the AU and are interested in a smart second tactician for the future, replied Rabbit, feeling at least slight confidence at what she was saying. Sensei laughed. That was usually a good sign. The two women excused themselves to leave after setting up some tea and treats, both looking thoroughly amused. Eventually the laughter dies down. Yes, something like the second option, replied Sensei under his helmet. Similar? Does he have bigger plans for her? A big shot organization is interested in you after I did personally mention you to them, and boy didn't you get some fans with that revenge plot of your. That. Yeah, it was practically one of her biggest F-ups of all times, because her bully wasn't supposed to be home. He usually is in arcades at the time. How was she supposed to know that he got grounded that morning? You did personally mention me? I guess that they are with ties to the AU or investors. Or possibly straight shadow benefactors of this entire organization, asked Rabbit. Sensei chuckled. That was a good sign that she was close. This is something of an investigation game to them. Seriously, her principal should have just opened a school legally for politicians. Learning manipulation from someone like him is something all politicians would dream of, especially that any graduates of his would probably be elected in their countries if the number is small. Yes, indeed. I got you an internship, thanks to your personal skills and public stunts, with Karma and the League of Villains. Sensei dropped a bomb at her casually. She had the bad luck of taking a sip of tea while he spoke, almost choking. By now she knows it was intentional. He was a sadist, malevolent man after all, even if nice in his own way. She always forgets that, unfortunately. And this only proves her theory about the man in front of her. After all, how could he secure her such a thing? And most importantly, she is for sure sitting not with a middle-aged man but a very, and she means very experienced veteran of many wars. With unheard of knowledge of quirks, terrifying aura she only saw in one other person before, and despite the school being full of secrecy never showed his face. The only person dangerous enough for that should be the supposed symbol of evil senior. Today she was going to ask, and while it technically is elaborate suicide, she is at least confident that she wouldn't vanish after the question, mainly because he might be testing if she would ask, or at least suspect. Honestly, this like having private lessons with Nedzu but without looking down. Are you all for one? Asked Rabbit as Sensei took a sip of tea, and she was delighted to see him choke and sputter. Payback Beach. Because it has been a while now and I only get the vibes of 2-century-old mastermind here, the only person possible is all for one. After a few seconds Sensei calms down. Would you elaborate? I am surprised you came to such a conclusion, and I just need to hear the logic behind it, said Sensei, leaning on his hands. Sure. Well, for starters, I find it weird that despite you being the principal of such a place, I couldn't find any telling details about you normally. Asking around was obviously a big. Now, and your skills as a mastermind, your many stories and knowledge is just impossible to be gained in a couple decades. Plus, of course, I never believed the quirk thief to be dead. How many quirks out there let someone survive fighting all despite the injuries? My guess was that he retired, and here you are, an incredible mastermind picking interest in a quirkless kid and offered your knowledge again, might I add, explained Rabbit before she deadpanned. Plus, Karma's mom and possibly adopted second mom are too friendly with you. It's obvious it's romance. He winced at that. Was intentional, or was he banking on her not noticing? Was he getting rusty, or was this a one big scheme of his? Few seconds later he laughed, a lot, overjoyed with her. Bravo. Bravo. I'm actually surprised by you. Skills in information gathering, ability to utilize your knowledge and information and make the best assumptions? Izuku would practically kill and dozens of people to have an assistant like you, declared Sensei before removing his Darth Vader helmet. His face is similar to Karma in a way. And a bit of hers really. She had dark long messy hair and blue eyes with freckles. His was short messy white hair and red eyes. Welp, at least she looked like her idols. That was something. Her internship sounds hopefully sweet. Today was the day designated for the start of the internships. Rabbit would be lying if she said she wasn't a bit intimidated. Everyone from the school, since they only had a single year this year, had gathered in the room used by Kurogiri for his teleports soon before noon came. Everyone from the students were dressed in their normal outfits, since there was no standard uniform for the Villain Academy, with their things. Toxicity and Rabbit had backpacks with their belongings, while Juggernaut was carrying his stuff in a bag. Rabbit decided. There was something odd since everyone seemed not very pleased with today, probably not very happy with their own current situation. Not everyone got very big names to intern with. Which made sense. Besides the League of Villains, there wasn't that many big shot villain crews to intern with. The other big names are pretty much enemies of the school. They are enemies because this place was Karma's personal villain factory, or maybe soldiers' training facility. Karma was going to rule the country soon enough. The more villains in the streets, the more power and influence he had, and that means that having quality villains in the street is even more beneficial to him. Genius. Rabbit decided. It was genius, and Karma-sama was practically a true genius above geniuses. If the story she heard was any indication, his intelligence let him run circles around Nedzu, the smartest being in Japan, without an intelligence quirk. That was amazing in her opinion. Toxicity decided to talk about random things, mostly about how excited she was to meet the League, while Rabbit and Juggernaut listened to her, trying to be focused. It was then that Magician came to the room, dressed in her own villain outfit, which was basically similar to Mr. Compress, but with blue instead of orange, and well, conspiracy theories already are flooding Rabbit's head, and she wasn't the only one apparently. Yo, whatcha doin' folks? Greeted Magician with a friendly smile. Rabbit thinks that Magician was better as an entertainer than a villain. Not underselling her skills, but Rabbit believes Magician was better off making kids smile. She was good at making positivity. So today's the big day, huh? Kinda excited to meet the League actually, especially Mr. Compress. What about you guys, have idols of your own? Magician slipped her mask from nowhere, so likely used her quirk, which is super cool, and put it in her face. It was a white mask with black linings on it. Rabbit still thinks it would be better to have one made of something more sturdy, but she won't judge. Excited but also nervous. I mean, we are meeting the biggest hotshots ever in the country. The only ones to measure are Maria and Vengeance, said Toxicity, smiling widely. Then again, when she not smiling widely? She was ignoring her quirk, a walking sunshine and anti-anxiety medication for Rabbit, and just very sweet all things considered. Although Rabbit thinks that those two mentioned supervillains were way subpar in comparison to Karma-sama. Sure, they could both level a city, but Karma-sama was yet to show them how powerful he truly was. Rabbit would bet he could single-handedly level a prefecture or two in a couple hours. Yeah, I hear you, Toxie. The League, despite them being not very long around, they pretty much rule the country from the shadows, replied Magician with a whistle. Rabbit could feel the grin under the mask. Which is all things considered super badass. Especially that the de facto new king of the shadows is technically 16. Now that's what I call fortune is the bold. Rabbit was more or less in agreement. It takes a lot of intelligence, power, charisma, strategic thinking and adaptability, as well as patience to take over a country. And decades, doing that in few months is, in Rabbit's opinion, the work of a higher power. Something to admire. It was then that Kurogiri arrived at the large room. The chatting died down quickly as Kurogiri went on to call out names of students, while opening warp gates, such a cool quirk, for the students to go through group by group. Soon enough it was their turn, and Rabbit noticed that someone else was still here, Howler, the wolf girl. She was, well, not more odd than Rabbit. She was a loner, very non-talkative, but as far as Rabbit knows, not mute. Her quirk was cool all things considered. The four of you will intern together in the League of Villains. Each of you will have a mentor that was interested in your skill sets and quirks, announced Kurogiri, and they nodded. Rabbit was still surprised that anyone would want her, but Sensei and her counselor told her to punch those thoughts if possible. She wishes she could just do that. Would make things hella easier. I recommended you myself to them. Please do not make me regret that. Rabbit will do her best. She didn't say it aloud, but her face says it all. Her friends had a similar expression. She wasn't sure about Magician though, and Howler was just looking. Empty. It was painful to watch. The girl needed friends. A lot of people tried to get around her, but she was painfully dodgy. No one could get 2 meters close without her running off. Kurogiri-sensei nodded at them before activating his quirk. Then black purplish mist covered them to start the warp. The black cloud devours them whole, warping them to their destination. Rabbit closed her eyes quickly and squeaked in surprise. Rabbit opened her eyes in an unfamiliar room. It's like a large living room full of couches, 2 different large TVs, and a bar? It was mostly empty, no one behind the bar. But there was people she recognized, Dobby, Twice, and Spinner. As for the supposed living room, there was a lot of people she recognized, all very outstanding criminals. It seems that their arrival has made everything halt for a second, before the person occupying the gaming console stood up and walked to them. She is 95% sure it's Reaper. Without the hands it's hard to tell actually, which was impressive. A good way to conceal your identity if slightly unorthodox. He walked to them and the first thing Rabbit thinks is, this guy could use some face lotion because his asking was painfully dry and cracked. But seeing his quirk, it was to be expected. Kurogiri greeted Reaper looking bored. She wasn't perfectly sure of his age. 20 to 23 years old, maybe? Knowing that a lot of League is composed of young people is one thing, but seeing it is mind-blowing actually. Especially that she could see Mustard and Vampire here too. With the two newly pronounced villains Prism and Heartjack. So, that's our new party guild, huh? Reaper seemed to measure them with his eyes. Rabbit is almost certain she didn't measure up to whatever the bar he had was. And hopefully he doesn't care for height because she was too short. She noticed him give her a slightly weird look when he looked at her. He took at least 10 seconds staring. It was getting awkward actually. Definitely another boss. A gender-bended one too, she heard him mumble. She has no idea what that means. But she hopes it's good. Nice, we're going to get along just fine, said Vampire as she came to them, before giving them a wide grin, displaying her cool vampire fangs. Her quirks was actually pretty cool. Where is the young master? Asked Kurogiri. Busy, shrugged the Reaper. He is way less scary than Rabbit thought. Unless he was told to start dusting people. Negotiating with some Russian crime syndicate, can believe it? When are going viral, Kurogiri? Reaper grinned, then went back to his usual bored face. Anyways, Gentle Mustache is doing his thing with La Brava outside in the city. Stain is with his definitely not wife doing whatever the F Razor is. Honestly no idea where that weirdo is, but I don't give a shit. Shield Maiden is doing her own things and Hypnosis is busy with a mission. So just us here. He motioned around. And everyone waved at them. Toxicity beamed and waved back. Rabbit was personally surprised by the friendly atmosphere. Then kids came to them. The youngest supervillains in history. And probably the most adorable unicorn in history. Rabbit would call the Unicorn Protection Squad personally. Hey, you are our new members? Asked the echidna while pointing at them. Measuring them with her gaze. The kid in the hat looked disinterested while the other girls seemed apologetic. They nodded. Well, I hope you don't disappoint because Daddy needs less trouble, not more. Rabbit decided that the threat is just adorable. Supervillain or not, Echidna is adorable. Howler is already in the background doing her own thing, brooding. Rabbit decided that she is good at brooding. Very good surprisingly. Is a part of her quirk to be a loner? It would put a lot of things into perspective. Why yes we are, declared Magician while bowing dramatically. Then she looked at them while taking off her mask, revealing a big smile. And I hope we get along cure once. My name is Magician and yes, I'm your newest intern. Pleased to meet you. Magician is an excellent mother material, Rabbit decided. She was good at looking like a harmless loony while she was deadly. Mu name is Mahoro Shigaraki. The heir ID the Demon Lord Karma. The Queen of Monsters. The villain Echidna. The Princess of the Darkness and the one who will inherit the earth once Daddy is retired, declared Mahoro while taking a pose. Rabbit beamed happily. This girl was adorable. My name is Kota Shigaraki. The first son of the King of Japan's dark underworld. One of the 3 youngest supervillains in the world. One of the main heavy hitters of the League and the one who will crush all the fake heroes and unworthy villains, declared Kota proudly, while pumping his fist in the air. Hi. My name is Eri Shigaraki. I am 6 years old and I like apples. What's your quirk? Asked the unicorn. Rabbit decides that Eri is lethally cute when smiling, doubly so when her eyes shine. Magician crouched down and decided to answer. It allows me to do. Magician trailed off as she flicked her hands before some candies appeared in them. This? Magician offered the 3 kids the candy. They took it without hesitation and Echidna gave an appraising look to Magician. The rest of them were introduced properly before Vampire decided to pull them to the living room to introduce them to everyone. We got them Papagiri, so why don't you go scare some bad kids straight, yelled Toga teasingly. Earning some Snickers from the League. Kurogiri mumbled something and vanished into his warp gate. Rabbit is definitely going to miss her teacher, but for now she will do her best. As the introduction were done, someone came to them. It was Dobby, and Rabbit decided that he was handsome. His skin was no longer burned like she saw on TV. His face was, well, very handsome. His hair was white like snow and honestly it suited him a lot. And turquoise eyes were fitting with the hair and clothes, dark ones. Alright kids. Name's Tuya Shigaraki and more known as Dabi, but now I'm going to be known as the arch-arsonist. 3 of you are going to be working under Reaper and me for the next 2 weeks, 1 of you will be working with Mr. Compress. The last one will be working with the boss directly, but we are all living in one building so let's get along regardless, alright? Toxicity nodded fervently. Howler on the corner looked away and saw nothing like usual. Juggernaut is unreadable. Magician gave another dramatical bow. Rabbit on the other hand just blinked at him. She was more busy thinking about his super cool, super strong and most importantly super fascinating cremation quirk. It was then that Mr. Compress himself came to introduce himself from the bar. And, well, the squeal magician gave almost deafened everyone in the complex. Rabbit and his friends weren't sure what they expected from the headquarters of the League of Villains. It certainly wasn't this though. What they got felt like a school dorm, at least to Rabbit who lived for a while in one. Each of them was assigned a small room on the same floor, right next to the quarters of the remaining members of the League. Toxicity was overjoyed to hear that her room was equipped with some special air filtration system, meaning that she didn't passively make air inside toxic simply by sleeping there for a few hours. So she could get visitors in the mornings. Then they were told to leave their stuff there, they did, and then they followed Dabi on a trip around the building. The building was large. 2 levels of underground lower one included prison, almost never used according to Dabi, and Shield Maiden's personal workshop, off limits, unless accompanied by her because there are dangerous and mass destruction weapons there. The upper one had a large combat training area, a gym and some storage room. Then the surface level, probably, with the living room and the bar. Above it the level for the quarters of the members. Then the floor with the Karmasama's personal office, official meeting room, some planning area, and some unspecified archive. No windows. Rabbit has no idea where they were right now. She doesn't even see an entrance door anywhere. It's confusing but makes sense since they weren't found yet. The League must be using warps for everything and, well, that explains that nobody caught on to them. It was genius. Kurogiri has to be a massive asset. All he has to do is to teleport League members back and from various towns to buy groceries and do their operations. Due to that, the heroes can't even find out which city the League's headquarters is located in. Unbelievably genius. Howler, Toxicity and Juggernaut are going to join my personal combat party. Reaper, who just came, announced. We lost 1 member during the training camp war. So the Vanguard Action Squad is down for a member, but we honestly could use some more party members. You can expect to have a lot of free time, although be aware that we're going to train you to hell and back. And well, Magician is with the levelers. Rabbit is an exception though. Rabbit is afraid of being an exception. Boss said that he is overworked and in need of an assistant, said Dabi. Rabbit was surprised by that. You won't be fully exempt from combat training, but expect to spend a lot of time on the top floor. Boss should call you when he comes back. Also, we have an operation scheduled for the next week, so don't slack off with your training, got it? Everyone noted. Great. You're free to lounge around for today. Melissa is tinkering with some special support items for you, consider those the welcome gifts. Feel free to drop by the bar when Kurogiri ends sending students to internships, that's his joint. Just don't enter the kitchen or touch the alcohol without his permission. Should be some food left in the living room if you get hungry. With that done, Dabi left. They spent the next 2 hours in Rabbit's room for some reason, minus Howler, who vanished in hers. They were mostly talking about how weird the whole thing was. Eventually Dabi knocked on the door and said that Rabbit is supposed to go to the top floor. This kid is too small. Deku thought. Yes, that was exactly what was the first thought Deku had when he saw little Rabbit entering his office. Which only made Deku worry internally. Sure, he met her before but it was very brief, they didn't actually talk. She was by then very timid and surprisingly good at deflecting attention from him. But she was too small. Like, as small as he was at 10 and she was 13. Some would argue that because she was a girl, but nope, because Deku was very small himself, so she was still worrisome. He will have to ask his dad about her eating schedule and maybe get her a better one. Rabbit, her real name not really important for anything, was facing steadily decreasing chances of some last, final growth spurt that would make him grow to a sensible height. Izuku was about 185 centimeters tall. Rabbit didn't grow up to 150. Yes, she was a girl, but Kyoka, the shortest in the league, was taller. But well, Rabbit had a developed muscle, so if she stayed like this, then she was just another Maruko, not big but could kick as regardless. Deku instantly noted the strange similarities between them. Their hair was similarly messy, though Rabbit's was black and very long, as in waist-level long. Her eyes were blue as well and neither green nor red. Did his dad have a stand few years ago and suddenly just met his long-lost daughter? Highly unlikely. His dad would have known long ago and most definitely gave her the life of a queen of the world. So Deku will treat this like a funny coincidence and nothing more for now. Izuku pointed towards a lone chair in front of the desk. And Rabbit quickly went to it and sit down, while Deku took a seat on his side of the desk. He looked at the nervous girl and sighed. Emotional stability. The atmosphere in the office relaxed slightly as Rabbit seemed much calmer. He loved this quirk. The ability to instantly neutralize all negative emotions from 10 meters square was very good with meetings, especially with jumpy kids like this one. Once he was sure that his intern wasn't going to die of fright, Deku decided to speak, but not before giving his most heartfelt smile to the young lady, who seemed to relax even more now. Good. You're probably wondering why I wanted you as an intern, asked Deku, and Rabbit quietly nodded. Her face curious and confused. Deku honestly found her unfailingly adorable. Well, I read about what you did with your old school. And you managed to impress me, which believe or not isn't an easy thing as most people would tell you. That was some excellent planning and very good execution there. You have. Deku stopped talking when Rabbit shook her head. Was it even done consciously? Slowly, Deku. Very slowly. What is it? Asked Deku gently. That startled the intern. Even when calm's still jumpy? Ugh, he is taking Tamura and Dabi tonight for some witch hunting because this level of jumpiness is unhealthy for a little girl. Then again, wasn't Deku that bad in the past? No, I just, the words came out but they were more like blabbers. A Honda landed on top of Rabbit's head. She looked to Deku, patting her gently from his seat with a warp gate. Try again, but slowly, think as much as you need. I got all day, smiled Deku even more gently. Rabbit didn't know it was possible. Rabbit nodded before taking a deep breath. After few seconds she started speaking. I didn't execute it well, sir. I messed up. My bully shouldn't have been at home when I set up the bomb. That was a disastrous mistake. I should have inquired if he had plans or not, but... Rabbit couldn't finish as Deku started laughing. Which has Rabbit, once again, looked like one of the animals that she was named after. It was suddenly enveloped in the car's headlights. Startled is putting it lightly. She looked much worse. How deep is her social anxiety? You should have seen me during my first mission ever. Yes, it's something I never told anyone else about besides my sensei, started Deku, and Rabbit looked at him confused. Basically, I was planning to raid a compound of women traffickers. I was planning to set the women free and take the money for myself. I accounted for just few corrupt no-name heroes, but I ended up with Mr. Brave, rank 41. Everything went to hell because of it. I was thoroughly startled. The thugs I hired were nothing in comparison, and I had to deploy a Nomu quickly out of the blue. Then the traffickers had time to recuperate and a huge firefight broke out with guns and... Yeah. The mission succeeded but narrowly, explained Deku, and gave another head pat. Rabbit is enjoying it. Should Deku mention that her hair is pleasantly fluffy? Really? Rabbit asked in surprise. Deku nodded in confirmation. Yes, so point is Rabbit. For your first operation and your very young age, this is more than an acceptable amount of mess-ups, Rabbit. You have a lot of room for growth, and I'm really looking forward to have a capable assistant, smiled Deku. The girl nodded at that. Plus, it would be a nice reminder of my past achievement having a quirkless assistant who still has skills, added Deku, just to see the girl gulp. Please don't be a F up on his side. I'm sorry I lied to get into your school, started Rabbit, looking down. I didn't mean to truck you. I'm sorry. Shit, the girl is few seconds away from crying on him. If he should act fast, he can get rid of her problem after all. But what in his collection would suit her the most? A charged power stockpile quirk? Flying? Blue flame? Decay? Riffle? Blood curdle? Reflex booster? Ugh, so many choices. Honestly, reflex booster should work the best with her. It's not flashy, then again the kid doesn't need flashy, but Rabbit was in need for a confidence boost. And, let's be honest, he is one day going to be a terrifying person. Deku is confident that he won't be overtaken, but he loves the idea of having someone he can converse about his plans and strategies on more or less equal level. Nedzu and Sir Night-Eye play in the same league, but it's not like he can talk about his plans with them. They both have the fields where they specialize in, making them a terrifying duo. When they team up, and his dad would testify on that regard. Deku really wants something similar. In fact, he craves for it. No one besides his dad is good enough to play in a similar league to his in the brains department. Now to tackle the subject head-on, beating around the bush would startle the kid too much later on. Listen, I would like to use my quirk on you. No pain unless you try to resist what I'll do, but if it works well, you should be super happy. Are you alright with that? Asked Deku carefully. Rabbit blinked before her eyes widened in surprise. Her mouth fell open. "You want to give me a quirk?" asked Rabbit in surprise. She looked so hopeful that Deku knew it was the right call. "Yes, Rabbit. I'm going to give you a quirk. But not unless you agree to it. No need to force you." There was an awkward pause after. Rabbit nodded her head quietly. She would probably agree to everything right now. Deku really needs to work on this kid's confidence and self-assertiveness. Is that what his dad felt like? Anyways. Deku stood up, then slowly approached Rabbit, slowly to not freak her out, and then slowly put his hand on Rabbit's head. He looked at the little girl to make sure she was okay. When she smiled to him, he did the same. Then he activated All for One. There are some static discharges in the air, but more powerful than usual. It's almost lightning and... Wait a damn minute. Lightning shouldn't be a thing, only static electricity. Is there something interfering with his quirk? But what? Izuku stretched his consciousness into Rabbit's body, and almost burst into laughter at what he discovered inside. He retreated his hand and deactivated All for One. There is no need for it, it seems. The irony is hilarious, to be honest. "Well, Rabbit," started Deku as he took a step back. Deku shook his head and smiled. "I have some news for you. And you won't believe it." You gave me more than a quirk?" asked Rabbit in confusion, and she looked downright adorable. "No, but there is no need for it. And the fun part is that the lightning discharges shouldn't be there. They are a sign that my quirk managed to interface with another quirk in there," explained Deku. "Another quirk?" asked Rabbit, blinking several times. It's hard to say if the kid already came to the right conclusion. Rabbit is smart enough to do that, but smarts aren't enough to overwhelm years of mental conditioning by stupid and abusive people. "Yes," replied Deku with a nod. "Yours? You are not quirkless, Rabbit?" The kid stared at him blankly. For several long seconds. Then the hurricane of emotions overtook her face. But, I have the additional toe joint and... Deku raised her hand and interrupts him. "So does Vengeance. And so does Mightless. And so do other late bloomers. Like us," started Deku. He saw realization dawning on Rabbit's face. "Yours is still dormant but almost fully developed. I suspect that it will awaken before your next birthday. I can't say what sort of quirk it will be, however." "My quirk?" Rabbit mouthed slowly. "I'm going to have a quirk?" Deku wasn't really surprised when Rabbit ended up breaking into tears. He closes the distance and gave the small girl a hug, which made it seem like his you-get self was hugged by his dad. Seriously, he can't believe how much he grew up, before muttering some reassurances to the crying child. Emotional support was his greatest skill, ironically enough. Being hugged by an SSS rank villain is probably not what Rabbit expected to happen that day. But it did nonetheless. Eventually Deku managed to calm Rabbit down. He always has some tissues hidden on him. He doesn't cry much anymore. He did it after Magna died, but in private, but something stuck to him. Thank you. Rabbit is much calmer. But still shaken. I'm sorry for crying." "You don't have to," shrugged Deku, smiling gently as he patted Rabbit on the head. "She is enjoying it, it seems. You felt like you needed to cry, so you did. It's all right. But now we have to talk about some things. Namely, what to do with your quirk." Rabbit's head perked up and her eyes navigated towards his face. "I know two people who accidentally killed someone when their quirk kicked in first. One of them is a member of the League. Late bloomers never get quirks beneath Class 4, this means that depending on what your quirk will be, it might be lethal. So I need you to promise me a thing." Rabbit nodded her head. "You are going to message me if you feel anything out of the ordinary. I won't be angry at you if you call me and it turns out to be a stomach ache or something like that. If you feel something that you aren't familiar with, call me immediately. I am an expert quirk analyst, so I should be able to discern what quirk we're dealing with without having to risk my life. Got it?" Rabbit nods fervently. "Great. Now why don't we move to the internship?" smiled Deku widely. Hitoshi Shinso enjoyed watching cat videos above, almost everything else. His mission was pretty simple. He was to use his hypnosis quirk. Seriously, he should have named it that from the beginning, to interrogate some MLA people. The info he got was pretty good, so he came back and boss was satisfied with his work. Which honestly was good payment for Hitoshi in itself. They relented. When he returned home, he finally had time to rest properly. The boss mentioned some new folks in the base, but he saw no one. He trusted his words on it. He trusted his words on all things. He didn't care enough to look for them on his own to find out who they were. He had better things to do. Like napping, then spending the night watching TV in the living room. Time has passed, familiar faces have vanished from the living room. It was probably night on the outside. Everyone went to sleep. He liked being left alone. He was taking a sip from an energy drink can. He put on a movie about some pre-quirk era war. When something happened. Someone sneaked into the living room. The steps were quiet, but Hitoshi trained his senses with Stain. He wasn't easy to sneak up on. He paused the TV and turned his head to inspect the complex mutant intruder. He trusted the boss to find only worthwhile new members for the league and Hitoshi Shinso laid his eyes on the most beautiful girl his eyes ever rested upon. Katsuki sighed as he got up from his bed at 4:30 a.m. With a grunt he went to change into his gym clothes, and walked out of the house silently to not wake up his parents or his adorable brat of a sister. He then went for one of his usual morning runs. He still can't believe what a clusterfuck his life was for the past few months since he got into UA. He knew heroics were an insane career choice and would probably get him killed one day, but damn, he didn't expect it to start with the whole life-threatening crap until maybe his third year. Not that he complained. Katsuki revels in the action and battles, it's just that he isn't a big fan of terrorist organizations trying to burn down his school and kill his class like this, but then again Udade was more than just a school. It was in fact far more than that. But that didn't mean he enjoyed seeing his friends getting almost killed. Friends? The word is honestly still a bit weird. He doesn't remember last time he had a friend for real. He messed up with Izuku in a legendary way, and since then from kindergarten he didn't have any real friends. He only had minions. They followed him around, but they weren't like the friends he had in UA. They only hung around him. Because they saw his quirk as powerful and thought he will become a big shot in the future. His real friends were in Udade. They were annoying as hell, but they made him feel like he belonged, but that didn't do anything to change how he still felt. To this day he still felt like Izuku should have been there too. He was a hero at heart. Katsuki was aware that he wasn't the reason Izuku became a villain. Katsuki was just part of bad memories like good memories. Izuku's problem was how society, and in Katsuki's opinion he had a good point. He got to know his classmates and didn't know how to feel about some of their experiences in middle school except wanting to blow up some idiots, so he settled on being pissed off in their stead. His time in Udade was hectic. He still can't believe how many friends he got there once he actually tried to open up to others. Heck, besides the copycat idiot, he was in good terms with everyone in their course. And he had friends in the whole class, mostly hung out with his squat as Pink Cheeks calls them, or being a part of the monster trio. Katsuki likes that term, training and hanging out. And if he said he didn't enjoy spending time with his new friends, he would be giving a fat lot of bullshit, to be honest. And now he would be living with them in school dorms and see them every day. That should be a new level of clusterfuck, to be perfectly honest. His coursemates had personalities of all forms and colors and habits that might not work out or work out way too well. Hopefully Katsuki will enjoy the soon-to-happen freak show instead of wish to hit his head against the wall in exasperation. When he was a kid he wanted to be a hero, to be like All Might, and now he was stuck in the middle of a war between multiple fronts, all wanting to dominate the country and possibly the world. What the F was his life? Somewhere else, Eraserhead felt like giving his biggest problem child a pat on the back in solidarity for some reason. But it could be worse, because despite this being way out of his league, Katsuki couldn't help but be excited for the new challenges that would arise in the future. Shit will hit the fan sooner or later. F that, it already did. And the country is going down the rabbit hole of civil war, which honestly Katsuki is hoping his parents would leave the country before. After he finished his run he went back home to have breakfast. He wasn't in the mood for anything fancy, so he went to the kitchen and made eggs and sausage for breakfast. As he finished cooking his dad came to the dining table and smiled. "Good morning, Katsuki, as early as ever I see." Katsuki grunted in acknowledgement before giving his own greetings. Yeah, you know me, I wake up early for training. Just because it's my last day in here doesn't mean I'll slack off for it. If you aim for the top then you gotta ear it." Masaru smiled at that and nodded. You could say a lot about his son and his issues from childhood all the way now. But one thing nobody could dare say is that Katsuki was a slacker. He works harder than anyone else and never goes for shortcuts. It was one of the things that would count as redeeming qualities for him. And he was getting more of those and less issues in general. Maybe Udade was really turning out good for him in the end. Yes, he was still extremely worried because of all the attacks that happened, but at least he now knows that his son was happy. After all, he hasn't bothered to speak about his day in school in years, but now he actually keeps ranting, narrating his day in his own way, about his day in school and what he did with his friends. Well, that's good to know. Masaru nodded his head in acknowledgement. "We will miss you in here. It will be too quiet without you around here." Katsuki scoffed at that, then barked a laugh. "Just admit, old man, you will enjoy the silence that will stick without me to argue with the old hag." Masaru laughed at that. "We both know that your mom will find something else to rant about, Iwabami maybe?" They both snickered at that. Yeah, they can totally see that happening. Oh, whenever those two met, it M's the definition of a cat fight. but with one-sided swearing. They will never forget the perfume bottle incident. Boy, what a travesty for a pro-hero to get her as handed to her by an angry housewife. Yeah, you have a point. The old hag will always find something to beach Abu Dash. Katsuki couldn't finish his sentence as he was grabbed in a chokehold, causing him to stop both speaking and breathing. What was that? Drawled Mitsuki skeptically. I'll always have what? Let it be known that Katsuki Bakugo was no coward. Yo. Well. Always. Beach about. Something. The choking intensified at that. You can use those oversized balls to get me some grandkids instead of sass me, In your dreams? Honey? Why don't sit down and eat breakfast? This is the last time Katsuki will cook for us so regularly after all, said Masaru, trying to stop his wife from finishing the job from the summer camp. Like a switch was flipped, Mitsuki nodded her head and took a seat as they started eating together. So, started Mitsuki. So, asked Katsuki with a raised brow. Any chicks you interested in? Asked Mitsuki with a sly smile. No, said Katsuki with both his tone and expression flat. Oh, come on, you brat, whined Mitsuki. Izuku-chan has 7 cute babes. Inko-chan is only waiting for the kids to come. You can't let Izuku-chan beat you in something, can you? I thought you liked to always win, said Mitsuki teasingly. Masaru decided that this is a dirty move, even for someone with his wife's vocabulary to use. Really? Using her son's over-competitive nature like that is underhanded. Oh, he can totally win, I don't mind. Women scare the shit out of me and I don't need to deal with more than necessary, deadpan Katsuki. Honey, let's not waste our last morning like that. There's got to be something else you wish to discuss, said Masaru with a sweat drop, because he is sure his son would leave if they kept this topic. Just saying, you and Izuku-chan have a lot in common, why not have more like that? Because a #1 hero being married to multiple women is setting up a bad image for the country, deadpan Katsuki. Well, at least tell me if there are girls interested in you, grinned Mitsuki, winking at him. Katsuki blushed at that. Masaru decided that his wife is using her last chance in a while to tease her kid to the fullest. How the F do I tell? Grumbled the bomber. Does any girls blush around you, hit on you, say you are cool too much, fuss on you, follow you around, stuff like that? Mitsuki shrugged. The answer is no. Well, Uraraka hangs out with me and Icy Hot a lot, but that's because we meet up for training, answered Katsuki, growing tired of the conversation. I'll keep looking then, there should be a girl that could stand your bullshit, decided Mitsuki. Best of luck, scoffed Katsuki. Any further conversation was cut off when the voice of a crying child filled the house. There was a collective sigh at that before Katsuki stood up. I got it. I won't be here a lot, so I'll change her this time. Plus, he will miss seeing his little sister. It hasn't been long, but he was already attached to the brat. Principal Nedzu was looking over the grounds. The dorms had, in his opinion, 2 purposes: protecting the students in case of an attack and finding the information leak. Nedzu disliked having to suspect both students and teachers, but he didn't have a choice. Since there must be someone who leaked the information about the summer camp's location to the enemy. Nedzu knows that soon enough Japan will face one of its darkest times, with villains on the rise, and someone like Atrocity on the move to take over everything, but for now the principal wanted to focus on giving the children some time to heal from the summer camp disaster, and showing them a bright future. The 3 classes of 1A, 1B and 1C were standing in awe at the several buildings that had certainly not been there 3 days ago. Their Heights Alliance dormitory was a large building with 7 floors, with floors separating genders. Each building had its respective course name posted above a sign that reads, Alliance. The building was circled by low hedge bushes that left a path open to the entrance. The entrance was comprised of 2 sets of double doors. Alongside the pathway were 2 park benches and 2 towers with lights on them. The first level of the building was white while the upper levels were colored brown on the outside. There was a courtyard outside the first level as well. Looking around, Katsuki saw that everyone had made a full recovery as well as gotten permission to stay at the dorms. Which surprised him. He would have expected some parents to pull their kids from the school, but then again he of all people should have been pulled, so had no right to speak. Glad to see you finally, exclaimed Ijiru as he gave Katsuki a bear hug, with a large grin on his face. Yeah, you saw him a while ago, dumbass. You had us so worried when you weren't answering your phone. We couldn't even see you after the whole camp thing, said Mina with a pout. Yeah, she wasn't updated on the meeting with the Vigilante Alliance, so she thinks he never left home at all. Better keep it that way then. It really is a welcoming sight to see you safe, nodded Momo as she gently gave a kind smile. Ochako nodded her head rapidly. Yeah, you looked like hell after the camp and your injuries were kinda critical, so I'm happy that you're fine, especially that you were in the middle of the fighting and all. You're one to talk. You got in a fight with one of the Nomas as well, scoffed Katsuki. Yeah, but unlike you, she didn't fight an army, said Yui flatly. She didn't fight alongside a supervillain to take down another supervillain. Who got away before we could reach him, grumbled Katsuki. Which is good, reminded Itsuka. You had injuries to begin with. Fighting bigger forces when exhausted is a bad strategy, and won't get you far. Wanna bet? Asked Katsuki. He doesn't like the implications that he was weak. No, because you already was near death once. We don't need you to jump into the same situation again for a stupid bet, pouted Mira. And we all know you will jump into the same situation for something as silly as a bet, said Denki with a snicker. Dude, he would do anything if you even hint that he can't do it. Don't use it against him, snickered Hanta. Before Katsuki could shout a threat at the two idiots, Shoyuta, Vlad and Mirai had come out, distracting him from Denki and Hanta for a while. Everyone's attention was on the teachers now. It looks like we managed to get everyone back, boomed Vlad, looking satisfied. For now at least, I'm just glad that we were able to bring everyone in the hero course back together again. That was harder than anticipated, muttered Shoyuta to himself, ignoring the muttering of students of how some of them took a while to convince their parents to let them come. Night I stepped forward and cleared his throat. Now I'll explain briefly about the dorms, but first. The plan was for you all to get provisional licenses after the training camp, which clearly didn't happen. Terrorists and egomaniac psychotics messing with us all the time, grumbled Katsuki, to which everyone mumbled agreements to that sentiment. None of them were happy with being targets all the time. It sucked, big time, but nothing they could do about it, unfortunately. So from tomorrow we will do special training so you could gain your provisional licenses, declared Vlad, that got the students to perk up slightly. / that is all. Now we're going inside for the tour. We'll explain how things work and the room arrangements, then you are free to roam around. Finished Shoyuta, turning around to enter the building, followed by his fellow teachers. The students quickly followed after the teachers, excited to see where they'll be living for the rest of the school year. Each student dorm building holds one of the 4 courses. Girls on the right and the boys on the left. The first floor is the common room where food, baths and laundry are on. Began Shoyuta while the other students began to eagerly explore. Ochako would have been overwhelmed if it wasn't for the fact that she had been living at Deku's fortress for the year before Udade and visited the Shigaraki manor to meet her future father-in-law, who was as dotting as a dad could get, shockingly enough. But she appreciated the kindness, but now she was just impressed. Did you hear that? Whispered Cozy Eye to Mineta. The bath and laundry area on the same floor? Whispered Mineta back, his eyes wide with hope. They're separated by gender, don't get any ideas you little brats. Snapped Vlad King as he lightly bonked the 2 perverts on their heads, causing them to yelp and quickly apologize to their teacher. Rooms start from the 2nd floor, 10 rooms on each floor with 7 floors total. Everyone gets their own luxurious room with their own AC, toilet, fridges and closets. Continued Shoyuta as he led them to a room, allowing them to explore a bit. The rooms have already been allocated, with your luggages delivered to your room, explained Vlad, pointing to a map when they arrived back to the 1st floor. If you have any questions regarding your room or wish to trade rooms, just come to us along with the student you wish to trade with. As long as it is reasonable, we will accommodate. That being said, having a male student switching over to the female's floors is forbidden and vice versa, added Mirai helpfully as he adjusted his glasses. Obo, pouted Setsuna, crossing his arms. And here I wanted to get a closer look at some delicious specimens. The boys who were in earshot couldn't help but feel a shiver up their spine when she said that, especially with her sharp teeth bared. For the time being, go unpack and settle in for today. We'll go over more of what's going to happen tomorrow. That's all, dismissed. Finished Shoyuta as he began to walk away. He had a nice cold sleeping bag waiting for his nap. Katsuki was working on fixing his room and putting some additions, but raised an eyebrow when he heard strange noises coming from Shoto's room, as if wood was being torn up. Shrugging at that, he continued to finish organizing his new room, getting ready to set his computer up when his phone rang. So I heard you guys will be in the dorms from today, am I interrupting something? Asked the voice of Int Eli from the phone. Katsuki shrugged at that before he replied casually. Nope, just adding the last touches to my own room, that's all. This place is less school dorms and lire of an apartment complex. Nedzu was the one to order the design. What did you expect? Snarked Int Eli, to which Katsuki chuckled. Fair enough. Surprised it doesn't look like a royal castle or some shit though. The rat looked into the eccentricities. Mused Katsuki. Don't jinx it, he probably didn't get the idea. He could practically remodel the place when you are in class and something, Don't antagonize him, Katsuki Bakugo. Fair enough, agreed Katsuki. Soon enough, nighttime came as everyone began to relax in the common room, chatting and playing games to pass the time. Each one of the students had just finished finalizing their room arrangements when the Mina and Setsuna suddenly suggested a room presentation contest. A contest? Asked Shoto in confusion. Yes, chirped Mina. A contest to see who has the best room among all of us in here. That caused everyone to look at each other, and after a bit they shrugged their shoulders at the suggestion. Hey Baku bro. Wanna tag along? Asked Ijiru, to which Katsuki scoffed. Nah, I'ma make dinner then go to bed, said Katsuki as he walked to the kitchen. Go to bed. Dude, it's barely 8. Denki called out. I sleep at 8:30 and wake up at 4 to exercise. Katsuki shot back as he got into the kitchen. I'm not throwing my training regimen off the window for a contest that nobody can win. What do you mean can't win? Asked Rikido. Decoration is subjective, not objective, morons. You can't make standards to judge. Some see things lake and others think they are cool, said Katsuki as he opened the fridge, then grinned. Oh hell yeah. Language, lectured Ibara from her seat. Hey, I'm making some pollo alla cacciatora for dinner. Does anyone mind? Asked Katsuki, seeing the ingredients in the fridge. Dude, we don't know what that is. Sun called out from the living room. The talk about the contest was on hold to talk about dinner. Pollo alla cacciatora is a classic chicken stew dish that was born centuries ago in Tuscany. The chicken is fried and given a traditional and warming seasoning. It is then stewed with olive oil, tomatoes, and red wine in a casserole dish and served piping hot, explained Momo helpfully. Yeah, I can't add the wine because we're underage, but grape juice will be good enough. Drinking laws, scoffed Katsuki. We will be happy to try it out. Ochako declared for everyone. I have a feeling that mealtime is going to be my favorite time of the day from now on, declared Setsuna. Welcome to the club. Mira and Yui said in the same time. Everyone snickered at that. And with that the contest began. For obvious reasons, Mineta's room was skipped as the girls had no desire to mentally scar themselves. So the first room to visit was Aoyama's, which was, to say the least, blinding. How anyone could sleep here was honestly a mystery to them. Tokoyami commented on how it was bothering Deer Rock Shadow, and Kaibara said that it was blinding, to which Aoyama said it was dazzling. Everyone just sweat dropped at the answer. Mina's and Setsuna's eyes were next set on Tokoyami's room, who stood in front of its door protectively. They had to actually push him out of the way to get inside. The inside was dark and grim. Kirishima picked up a keychain and inspected it, and Tetsu marveled at a sword in Tokoyami's room. Tokoyami told them all to get out while Tenya scolded Setsuna and Mina for being pushy. Now we're going to Eiji's room, exclaimed Mina, to which everyone agreed. Ijiru shrugged his shoulders before letting them know that he doubted the girls would appreciate his room, as it was filled with manly stuff. Pony commented that it was ranked number 2 for the room you'd least want your boyfriend to have, which made Mina slightly frown at that comment. Even though she could somewhat agree with that statement, she also liked the Ijiru flair that it had. After Shoji's rather empty room, they went to Sato's first, where they promptly had a cake that he had been baking earlier. After finishing the delicious cake, the class of 1A was promptly surprised at Shoto's Japanese-style room. When and how did you have time to remodel it in a day? Shouted Mineta when Shoto explained that he couldn't relax without the tatami floor. So that explains all the noise, thought Katsuki with a sweat drop watching from his phone as Ijiru had video called him to show him the contest, while Shoto shrugged and replied that he had worked hard. The contest continued with many rooms being showed. Himawari's room looked like a small garden, amusingly enough. Mika's looked like a library. Tenya complimented her on that, to which they admitted that she liked reading and had books about all things to even fiction. Arashi's had guns, lots of guns and grenades. It freaked people out, but Arashir assured them that she and her dad were collectors and that she had a license for them. Katsuki admitted through the phone it was the coolest room. Gara's room was similar to what you would find in a desert. It had sand in it, to which he explained was for self-defense, which was probably a good idea knowing their luck. Next room was Katsuki's. They expected it to be filled with explosives and braced themselves, but what they got was a normal room filled with normal stuff. The most personal thing was the All Might bed sheets, but that was it. I expected more violence in here? Kamakiri sounded unsure of himself. Yeah, this is anticlimactic, said Nito looking around skeptically. Then get the F out. Katsuki barked through the phone. Shoto raised an eyebrow as he saw a book about World War III and pulled it, matching clinking sound before the ceiling somehow moved, revealing multiple posters of war games, All Might merch and maybe a single posture about a slutty dressed female soldier holding an assault rifle. There was a pause. You are dead to me, deadpan Katsuki as the laughter started. After the competition was over and Rikido was declared the winner, the cake was cheating but Katsuki cut off the arguments with threat of throwing the food, a risk nobody was taking. Everyone ate their dinner together, to which they enjoyed so much. Mina, Ochako, Itsuka and Aoyama took care of cleaning the dishes while the rest cleaned the table. Imasuji was nice enough to take out the trash with Sato while Nido and Enshoji cleaned the tables. Multiple arms and a copy quirk were an amazing combination. So after all that was done, the girls and boys left to sleep, or should have. Katsuki was now regretting a lot of things. It happens when he is denied his sleep, which was happening now as some of his classmates texted him for some reason. Better be worth something. King Explosion Murder. Alright shitty hair, I get very grumpy when I pass my sleep time, so this better be worth my time. Riot in Red, we are gone ma play a game. Riot in Red, at first I didn't agree but it seems to have some benefits. King Explosion Murder. King Explosion Murder, I'm going to regret this but what? Pikachu, smash or pass? King Explosion Murder, are you kidding me? Riot in Red, before you break down our doors and blow us up, we have Ida in here. King Explosion Murder, I don't believe. Super Speed, I assure that I'm present in here Bakugo. King Explosion Murder, WTFOO. Super Speed, the point of this game is to see which girls some of us are interested in, and see our personal preferences as well as responsibly discuss what partners should be like for us in the future as pros. King Explosion Murder. King Explosion Murder. F it, I'm in, but if one you make it weird or gross, I'm blowing you up. Super Speed, you are encouraged to do so. Riot in Ret, so at Pikachu what are the rules? Pikachu. Simple, I name girl, we say smash or pass, to which if you actually like the possibility and then we give a number on her attractiveness from 1 to 10, then criticize them as possible partners. Spider-Man easy enough? Tentacles, that's not actually bad. Sugarman, yeah that's actually kinda nice. Soba Man, simple, I think I can actually keep up, smiley face. Darkness Man, I will participate in this game then, if only to see what everyone's opinions are. Plus this should be quite fascinating. King Explosion Murder, let's get this over already. Pikachu, alright. Ready? King Explosion Murder, go ahead damn it. Pikachu, Yamamo. King Explosion Murder, pass. Riot in Red, smash. Spider-Man, smash. Pikachu, smash. Sugarman, smash. Darkness Man, smash. Soba Man, smash. Riot in Red? Spider-Man? Pikachu? Sugarman? Darkness Man? Soba Man? Pikachu, really bro? Oh. King Explosion Murder. Don't get me wrong, she is good looking and nice, 9 out of 10 I'll tell you, and a good wife for sure, just too pure and gentle for me. And she is high class, we wouldn't hit it off. Pikachu, fair enough, I guess you of all people wouldn't get along with her. Pikachu, I guess we all dot agree with Bakubro's assessment? Spider-Man, aha. Riot in Red, yup. Sugarman, yeah. Darkness Man, I agree. Soba Man, same. Pikachu, alright then next is Pikachu, dramatic drums play OCHAKO. Pikachu, and a hard smash, sweet, cute, smart and super strong. 9 out of 10 and I bet you she is a sweet wife and mom in the future. Riot in Red, agreed. And smash. Soba Man, Detroit smash, same with Kaminari. Sugarman, smash. Darkness Man, smash. Tentacles, same, she's never awkward around me, it feels nice. King Explosion Murder, pass again but sale opinion with you. Pikachu, really? Thought she was your type. King Explosion Murder, do you really see us not destroying what very bedroom we use? Soba Man, fair. Riot in Red, Yowl. Pikachu, too. King Explosion Murder, smash. Riot in Red, smash. Spider-Man, smash. Pikachu, smash. Sugarman, smash. Darkness Man, smash. Soba Man, smash. Pikachu, oh? Oh. King Explosion Murder, the rib biting is adorable and she likes kids 8.5/10. She would be the type of wife that somehow mails a shitty day better with a single rib bit and a hug. Spider-Man, now I can't get the adorable image out of my head. King Explosion Murder, why yes suffer. XD. Pikachu, anyways before any of you tried to propose to Tsu. Pikachu, Ashido. Riot in Red, United States of Smash. King Explosion Murder, United Nations of Smash. Spider-Man, smash. Pikachu, smash. Sugarman, smash. Darkness Man, smash. Soba Man, smash. Pikachu, wow you two are on fire. Oh. King Explosion Murder. If there is one person that would never take on my bullshit, it's her. If I want a woman that will make sure I'm not an idiot after graduation, yeah, I need someone like that. Riot in red. I admire her for that quality. She brings the best in every person and she inspires people and is cute. 9 out of 10. Best wife material, great mom for sure. Spider-Man, yes. Pikachu, agreed. Darkness Man, yup. Soba Man, right. Pikachu, so. Pikachu, do we mention the other two from our class? King Explosion Murder, seriously? Riot in red, dude. Pikachu, just saying. I know they worked for Karma but still. They're our friends. Soba Man, I think we should, in respect for our memories as classmates. Darkness Man, yes. Pikachu Gyro. King Explosion Murder, Super Smash. Riot in red, pass, not cheerful enough. Spider-Man, smash. Pikachu, Super Smash. Sugarman, smash. Soba Man, smash. Tentacles, pass, nice but too moody. Pikachu, opinions? King Explosion Murder. Want a woman that wouldn't tolerate your bullshit? A woman that would literally kick your ass to high gear when you slack off? Who will make sure you're doing well as a dad and husband? That's the one. 8 out of 10 and great partner material, same as a mom, her kids will be smacked into line fairly quickly. Pikachu, we all agree with that assessment? Spider-Man, yes. Pikachu, agreed. Darkness Man, yup. Soba Man, right. Pikachu, Haga Ascuri. King Explosion Murder, pass. Spider-Man, smash. Pikachu, smash. Sugarman, smash. Darkness Man, smash. Soba Man, smash. Pikachu, bro? King Explosion Murder, 9 out of 10, a great mom for sure but too girly for me? I mean she likes stuffed animals and would baby her kids and spoil them too much, plus too cheerful. I have my taste. Riot in red, fared. Pikachu, honestly in my opinion an ideal wife. Pretty, smart, adorable, hot and likes kids so much. Spider-Man, yes. Darkness Man, yup. Soba Man, right. Pikachu, now to girls from 1B. Pikachu, now to girls from 1B. Riot in red. Wait, I thought it was only girls from our class? Super speed. Well, to be objective, there are all types of girls. Discussing more examples would beneficial if we keep the discussion civil and respectful. Soba Man, I'm with Ito on this. I'm actually having fun just chatting with friends. I don't want to sound pathetic but Soba Man, I'm really having the time of my life. Riot in red. Pikachu. Spider-Man. Sugarman. Tentacles. That was truly heartwarming, laughing face. Tailman, I have to agree. Super speed. I am extremely honored that you enjoy my company like this at Soba Man. King Explosion Murder? Well, I guess since Icy Hot is happy I can delay my sleeping schedule for a bit longer. Soba Man, laughing face. Darkness Man, this extremely heartwarming to an undescribable degree, smiley face. Pikachu, alright then. Pikachu, Kendo? King Explosion Murder, smash. Riot in red, smash. Super speed, smash. Soba Man, smash. Spider-Man, smash. Tailman, smash. Pikachu, smash. Sugarman, smash. Tentacles, smash. Darkness Man, smash. Pikachu. Wow, everyone here is on agreement. I'm surprised but not really. Super speed. Well, to speak fairly, I say Kendo-san is a great and caring person, very responsible and patient with others and empathetic, but on the same time she doesn't take nonsense from anyone. King Explosion Murder? Like the copycat bastard. Super speed. I say 9 out of 10 and a prime partner material as well as excellent mother in the future. King Explosion Murder? Well, you said it, both nice and strong. I say what someone in heroics needs actually. Pikachu, oh? Riot in red, oh? Spider-Man, oh? Darkness Man, I'm intrigued, wanna explain? Soba Man, I'll take notes, oh. Tentacles, same. King Explosion Murder. Just saying people, she has the patience of a saint seeing how she deals with the copycat prick on daily basis, so if one of you has a shitty day and starts ranting in the middle of the night she'll listen, not once complaining and smiling encouragingly all the way. Tell me you idiots wouldn't appreciate someone like that in our line of work. Darkness Man. Tailman. Sugarman, well. Soba Man, when you put it that way, yes, that actually sounds quite nice. Spider-Man, I have to agree. Riot in red. Yeah, having someone to vent to is actually a thing we might need in the future, but having that person right at home sounds great. King Explosion Murder? Yeah, and even with that big heart and unbelievably long temper of hers, she'll still be the head of the house L when you act out of line or are doing something enraging or just not acting appropriate, especially when you have kids. Well, look at her knocking out someone with one hit and think twice. Call me a weirdo, but after seeing her do it multiple times, I think it's so hot. Riot in red. Yeah, knocking someone out like that is manly and attractive, I have to admit. ////////// Pikachu. So to sum up, Kendo is one of the best girls around, got that? Laughing face. Soba man? Well, that's one way to put it. Pikachu. Well, next Kodai. King Explosion Murder. Smash. Riot in red. Pass. Super Speed. Smash. Soba man. Pass. Spider-Man. Smash. Tailman. Smash. Pikachu. Pass. Sugarman. Smash. Tentacles. Pass. Darkness Man. Pass. Pikachu. Well, we like what we like. Opinions? Riot in red. Well, Kodai is nice, that much no one can argue with, right? Soba man. Yes. Pikachu. Of course. Tentacles. Agreed. Darkness Man. Almost definitely my friends. Riot in red. Boat. Well, I'm afraid that her stoicness will make a relationship very hard, because well, she has a problem with showing affection. Am I sounding mean in here? I'm a person who likes to be passionate about things, so. Super Speed. Well, not at all at Riot in red. As at Pikachu said, we like what we like. There is nothing wrong in having different tastes. King Explosion Murder. What he said, you can't like all types, you just can't, as long as you're not being a mess when talking about her, you're golden. Soba man. Ah, good, I was afraid I'm being mean or unheroic here. It might sound weird, but if I was to have someone in my life, I would like her to be. Does it sound somewhat corny to say I want her to shower me with affection? King Explosion Murder. Considering your messed up childhood? Not in the damn slightest, it doesn't. Sugarman. Yeah man, it would have been worrying if you didn't display need for affection. Darkness Man. Yes, love is a big part of human needs, nobody can live without it, well you can, but not having any of it is more similar to survival than living. Tentacles. Yeah, you are not corny man, you are being human. Pikachu. Hell yeah dude. Riot in red. Yeah, we get you. Soba man. Thanks, happy face. King Explosion Murder. I'm so proud that you learned how to use emojis correctly. XD. Super Speed. Well, I guess that some people like kindness to be displayed clearly. I think that, even with Kodai-san being somewhat lacking in social skills and human interaction as well as displaying her emotions, I think she is good partner material. She is calm, collected and organized as well as very calm. King Explosion Murder. LOL, super calm to be precise, so no worries about an argument turning to a shouting match, good to know XD. Soba man. Happy face. Riot in red. LOL. Pikachu. PFFFFF teach. Spider-Man. LMAO. Tailman. Ah. Sugarman. Damn dude, just damn, you don't usually throw jokes, but when you do. Tentacles. It's perfect bullseye, direct hit. Super Speed. I agree with Bakugo, she would be extremely hard if not impossible to get into arguments with. So risks of yelling and things getting out of hand are almost zero. Mostly because calmness gives you an edge, so she would probably win whatever argument, so it's another point for her. Soba man. That actually would useful in keeping a relationship afloat, I'll have to admit that, smiley face. King Explosion Murder. My point exactly, I get sometimes too loud even when I actually try to be quiet, explosive personality and all that, so being in the same house with a literal ice queen would make sure things are peaceful. And she has the patience of a saint, something a girl sure as hell needs to deal with me. Riot in red, right? Sweat drop. Pikachu. Can't argue with that. King Explosion Murder. So well, to sum up, she is a 9 out of 10, don't argue. I saw her in a dress before and a great wife material, not perfect. But well, opposites attract, so she'll probably have someone with voice and energy for both of them. Raising kids would especially be easy with her because, well, as stated, patience of a saint and stoic as a statue. Super Speed. I fully and wholeheartedly agree with that King Explosion Murder in his assessment. Spider-Man. Damn, now that you mention it, raising kids would be a piece of cake for her. No matter how much the kids cry and whine, she won't hand them candies and toys. Kids just won't win. Tailman. LOL. Sugarman. Damn, you're right. King Explosion Murder. My point exactly, LMFAO. Pikachu. Alright then. Shigaraki. King Explosion Murder. Good luck with that. I say we skip to speaking about her as a wife because. Spider-Man. Yeah, no way in hell is she even getting near a man until marriage. Super Speed. Which I don't see anything wrong with. Soba man. Me neither, it's like testing if a man would be committed to her until marriage before getting his prize, as you put it, so she doesn't have to worry about being ditched later on. If anything, it's smart. Happy face. King Explosion Murder. Right on the money, icy hot. XD. Pikachu, so opinions? King Explosion Murder. Ah. She definitely wouldn't stand me, that's for sure. If anything, she seems to consider doing exorcism on me. Riot and Red, come on man, not that bad. King Explosion Murder, she smacked me with a Bible once and said I need to find God. When I yelled at someone in the national festival to go to hell, she threw water at me. Pikachu, ouch, and definitely my type. I can live until graduation and a year of dating without the deed. If anything, it'll make it worth the effort. It would be like, I sure as hell earned it. Spider-Man, when you put it that way, yeah, it sounds nice. King Explosion Murder. Plus, credit must be given when earned. That's one woman you sure as hell wouldn't worry about cheating on, your dumb miserable as LOL. Happy face. Spider-Man, well, you're right. She would be fanatically loyal to her husband. Oh. Super speed, which is just another point for Shiozaki-san in my opinion. Soba-man. Plus, if there is someone who acts like a saint, it would be her. She would be loyal, kind, unfailingly polite and gentle, very serious about her family and put them above all else. Plus, I heard religious people are into big families. I admit I'm also into that. Spider-Man, you are making it hard to not ask her out. Happy face. Riot in Red. Yes, she is uptight a bit, but still out of goodwill and personal beliefs, and she will be, as you said, a great wife and mom. Super speed. So to sum up, Shiozaki-san is an excellent wife and mother material. Is anyone agreeing on that? Sugarman, yes. Darkness Man, yes, we agree. Spider-Man, totally. Soba-man, I agree as well. Tentacles, wholeheartedly. Riot in Red, she would be a great partner, I say that with confidence. Tailman, yup. King Explosion Murder, and a 9 out of 10 as well. You and her would like LOL a plant. Your relationship with her will need care and patience, but in the end it'll be worth it, I guess? Super speed. Sugarman. Darkness Man. Spider-Man. Soba-man. Tailman. Tentacles. Riot in Red, that was beautiful. Pikachu, hell yeah it was. Now to next one. Tokage. King Explosion Murder, pass. Riot in Red, smash. Pikachu, smash. Spider-Man, smash. Soba-man, smash. Super speed, pass. Darkness Man, pass. Sugarman, smash. Tentacles, smash. Tailman, smash. Pikachu, those who pass reasons? King Explosion Murder, would I be a mess if I say that a girl who's too flirty and touchy makes me uncomfortable? Super speed, not at all at King Explosion Murder. Some people appreciate personal space, which is perfectly understandable. Super speed, I'll admit that I have similar reasons. Tokage-san is an excellent student and will be an amazing heroine one day, that I can tell you for sure, but her personality is just not compatible with mine. Nothing else. Darkness Man, too bright. Riot in Red, well, to be honest, I like her energy. She is cheerful all the time, funny, and just doesn't let gloominess last around. She always try to lighten up the mood and just friendly to a default. Pikachu, plus she is cute a lot. And that with her touchy personality, she is my type. Laughing face. Soba-man, I could definitely appreciate someone like her. She seems like the type of partner to give hugs in random just because she feels like it. I could definitely use someone that open and affectionate. I definitely would enjoy it. Smiley face. King Explosion Murder. Riot in Red. Spider-Man. Super speed. Darkness Man. Sugarman. Tentacles. Tailman. Pikachu, we are giving you a group hug in the morning. Not open for negotiations. Soba-man, not like I would say no for that. Smiley face. Super speed, excellent. So back on subject. While Tokage-san looks flirty and laid back, she proved to be able to take things like her career seriously, and she seems to take things like romance with the same seriousness, so she would be a loyal partner, plus her positive personality would make good for a mother, if slightly an easygoing one. King Explosion Murder? Then it means her husband will have to be a little tighter, not that big of a deal. Pikachu, so yeah, to sum up, our friend is easily a 9 out of 10 and a great wife, a little easygoing mother but still a good one nonetheless. Super speed, yes, that sums it up pretty well. Pikachu, alright then. Komori. King Explosion Murder, pass. Riot in Red, pass. Pikachu, pass. Spider-Man, smash. Soba-man, pass. Super speed, smash. Darkness Man, pass. Sugarman, pass. Tentacles, smash. Tailman, smash. Super speed, opinions? King Explosion Murder, I can come off as scary sometimes even when I don't intend to. Having a jumpy girlfriend like her, that's as timid as one could get, would make Ka look like an abuser to strangers. Riot in Red, oof, regretful but true, for me it's just that she is rather quiet. I like girls that's lively and full of energy. Girls that lighten up the mood. Komori is just not into the category? Super speed. Yes, you are making excellent points. But looking through her anxiety and timidness, Komori-san is a very nice and helpful person, who would always extend her hand to others and try to make them feel better, which something partners should do in my opinion. She is also very smart and organized, which would be important in the future. Tailman. Plus, she is very patient and forgiving, so that's a one huge plus in the favor of the mushroom girl. Pikachu, definitely. And cute, it's just that I'm with Kirishima on that one. I like lively girls. But Komori is still an 8 out of 10 and a very recommend partner material, and an even better mom. That's for sure. You guys agree? Pikachu, Tsunatori, King Explosion Murder, smash. Raiden Red, smash. Pikachu, smash. Spider-Man, smash. Soba-man, smash. Super Speed, smash. Darkness Man, pass. Sugarman, smash. Tentacles, smash. Tailman, smash. Pikachu at Darkness Man? Apparently you're the only one here to pass. Opinions? Darkness Man. Tsunatori-san thinks that I'm too gloomy, so it's simply that our personalities doesn't match. Nothing more. Super Speed. Difference in personalities can sometimes be the key in a successful relationship, but sometimes the differences could be the problem. Being able to tell when it is too much is admirable. Riot in Red. I just think that she is a ball of cheeriness in a girl's body. What about you, bro? What do you like about her? King Explosion Murder. Well, she is American and lived there. Pikachu, so? King Explosion Murder. So she is a big fan of American food. Believe or not, it's my favorites. I definitely could see us getting along only on similar tastes in food. Plus she likes spicy foods like me, that's a huge plus. And she likes guns, which is sick. Riot in Red. Well, I see your point, but she is still having troubles with speaking Japanese fluently. King Explosion Murder. Joke's on you, I speak fluent English, so doesn't need a translator, lol. Pikachu. Then you two would surely hit it off, especially that she already fell for your cooking. Riot in Red. And who didn't? Soba Man. An extremely precise question. Who didn't? Super Speed. To answer, everyone did. It had excellent quality. King Explosion Murder. Thanks. Pikachu. Back on subject, being American, she must have more open opinions on dating and relationships as well as fashion and music. Hanging out together and comparing stuff sounds like fun actually. Spider-Man. Plus, she is very nice, like she actually is the second most patient with Monoma after Kendo, so that's a huge bonus. Soba-man. She is also more open to new things, so she wouldn't be opposing to trying new things. That counts as something, right? Sugarman. It sure does. King Explosion Murder. Plus, in America parenting is more open in methods, so the whole women are the ones to take charge. That probably wouldn't be the case with her, which is neat. Spider-Man. I second that. Pikachu. So I assume this is 8.5/10 and excellent wife and mother material for our friend? King Explosion Murder. Smash. Riot in Red. Yes. Pikachu. Yes. Spider-Man. Yes. Soba-man. Yes. Super Speed. Yes. Darkness Man. Yes. Sugarman. Yes. Tentacles. Yes. Tailman. Yes. Pikachu. Then for the next one and final one, Yanagi. King Explosion Murder. Smash. Riot in Red. Pass. Pikachu. Pass. Spider-Man. Smash. Soba-man. Smash. Super Speed. Smash. Darkness Man. Smash. Sugarman. Pass. Tentacles. Pass. Tailman. Pass. Pikachu. A draw on this one. Opinions? Darkness Man. I would say that we would perfectly match in personalities and hobbies. As aesthetic. Riot in Red. Well, that makes sense, man. For me it's the same like Komori, no need to repeat it. Pikachu. Yes, same here, man, but at King Explosion Murder, what do you think? King Explosion Murder? Well, I guess I do like horror movies. We could get along from that point, and her love for horrors would be fun to use to my advantage. Super Speed. How? King Explosion Murder. For a first date we could convince the teachers that their dorms are haunted, lol. Pikachu. I could see that as a glorious first date. Darkness Man. That would actually be a great experience. Sugarman. Poor teachers though. XD. King Explosion Murder. Nah, they'll live. Spider-Man. But despite her lack of cheeriness she's still pretty and nice, so credit must be given about that quality. Darkness Man. And besides, I could see Yanagi-san being a very devoted if slightly gloomy partner. That counts for something for sure. Pikachu. So to sum up, Yanagi is 8.5 nice if slightly gloomy wife and partner. Noted. Pikachu. I guess we finished with 1B, huh? Guess we can move to 1C then. King Explosion Murder. We move to sleep now, you can finish tomorrow. Riot in Red. Huh? What? King Explosion Murder. Because it's midnight, you morons. If you insist, we can make those night chats a thing, but now go to bed because I am. Riot in red. Oh shit, you're right. Oh. Pikachu? Holy shit, wasn't it 9 when we started? Oh. Soba man? I heard that time flies by when you're having a good time, but still, this was quick. Super speed. I agree with that King Explosion Murder on this. While we could chat on productive topics, I think we should limit it to 10 p.m. because we spent too long tonight. Tailman? Alright then, good night everyone. Sugarman? We should hang out like this more often. Smiley face. Soba man? I would love to, laughing face. Darkness man, same. Tentacles. Alright then I'll see you tomorrow. Spider-Man, good night. Pikachu, see ya. King Explosion Murder, later. Earlier that night. So why are we here again? Asked Erashur as she looked around her at the rest of the girls in the common room. They had all prepared for bed, and by the time they went to their dorms at 9 because Katsuki cooks early and goes to sleep early, so they figured why not follow his example? They were texted by Mina and Setsuna to come here. Which they did, but with evident confusion on their faces. I'm not exactly sure either, the text I got was pretty vague like the rest of you, so I'm not sure what this is about. Although I really hope not anything bad, said Momo while holding her cheek. She was about to call Deku in the safety of her bedroom, something she was particularly excited for, but was called here instead. She could only hope it was something worth her time. They probably wanted to do some mass gossip for their own amusement. Which I really don't feel like participating in, sighed Itsuka. She, like the other girls, was about to turn early for bed when she was called here. Itsuka didn't know what this was about, but seeing who called everyone here, it doesn't take a genius to realize that this was going to be embarrassing. This better not take too long. I have a pillow with my name literally on it waiting for me to crash on. And I was particularly tired today from setting up my room. If I was called here for nothing good, I'll show Pinky and Lizardy a piece of my mind, growled Saya as she cracked her knuckles menacingly, a scary expression on her face. She, like the other girls, was about to crash into her comfy bed when she was called here by the two gossipers. Please don't overdo it, Saya-chan. We don't want to be scolded by Dadzawa for getting in trouble in the first 12 hours we spent here, requested Tsuyu, her finger to her chin and smiling slyly. No promises, Froggy, but for you I'll try to not hurt them too badly, replied Saya. Tsuyu gave a rib bit of thanks at that. Out of all the girls, Tsuyu was the one who got the closest to Saya the most, along with Mika. Sorry for being late, ladies, declared Mina as she skipped into the living room with an empty notebook, grinning from ear to ear and looking excited. She was also carrying a deck of cards and some board games. Yes, sorry for being late, but we needed to bring few stuff, grinned Setsuna as she got into the room while carrying a bag filled to the brim with snacks, as well as a box with drinks in it. That got the rest of the girls to sigh, realizing that this was going to be a very long night in fact. As their hopes of getting whatever this was about over with quickly to go to sleep were quickly dashed, they looked at the two girls with new interest, deciding that this might as well be amusing enough for them stick around. You got 23 seconds to interest me in whatever this is about, enough to not beat you both to a blood pulp and go to bed, said Saya as she started counting, her expression oh so perfectly calm that it screamed the word danger to everyone. We thought of having a girls' game night to relieve stress as well as bond together as friends, said Mina with excitement, but she was sweating profusely in nervousness. Yeah, we are playing cards, doing some gossip, playing video games and doing bets. Come on, this should be fun. I know you girls want to have some fun after all the crap we went through, grinned Setsuna as she put down the snacks. 23 were up. Saya stared at the two girls for a few seconds as they grinned nervously. Everyone else decided to not step in whatever happens, lest they suffered unwanted bruises. You got nachos in there? Asked Saya with a raised eyebrow. The girls stared at her in surprise, caught off guard by the question. You bet we do, laughed Setsuna as she tossed a small plastic box to Saya, who caught without effort and shoved some into her mouth. Alright, I'm game, declared Saya, fully satisfied now. Alright. Let's have some fun, girls, cheered Mina as the rest followed suit. And then the common room was remodeled for tonight, filled with low tables that was put together to form a circle and bean chairs to sit on. Some girls were more comfortable to sit on pillows while others were into sitting on mattresses. After 5 minutes of joined efforts from all the girls, the place was fully set up for playing the game. Alright, we are playing poker. We aren't actually betting any real money, but the chips are more for fun and practice for real life playing. Does anyone have a problem? Asked Momo, who decided to take charge for this game. There wasn't any complaining about the game, even Ibra was comfortable playing, since there wasn't actual gambling, just a card game and chips to trade, which wasn't sinful as she said. So the games began, and both Mira and Saya proved to be extremely skilled in poker and had good hands but had the bad habit of looking excited or pissed at their cards. Yui on the other hand was a living statue which nobody could get a read of whether she had good or bad cards. She was truly, as Katsuki called her, a poker face. Yui ended up bluffing most of her wins, where she only lost to Momo, who still could read through the eyes, and wasn't afraid of taking risks. Ochako seemed happy that they weren't betting real money because she ducked at poker big time. She always sucked whenever they played in the league, and she still sucked now, it seems. The only condolences she had was that Ibara sucked even more, to the point that even Kinoko and Mika swept the floor with her. After the poker games were done, Momo was crowned as the queen of poker in the dorms, at least along girls, and her happy expression was too adorable to have anyone feeling envious of her. And now they ended doing gossip. "Well, now let's talk about some of the boys in our dorms," grinned Mina as she looked around her excitedly. There was a collective groan from everyone mince Setsuna else around her, causing Mina to pout. "Hey, what are you all so down about?" Saya decided to answer for everyone. "Because your dumbass can't go through this type of talks without shipping every goddamn one of us with one of the boys, and then declare it your life mission to have us by the time the school year ends. Same with you, Lizardy. If anything, one of you take the other girl's surname already," answered Saya bluntly, popping a machi into her mouth that Ochako sweetly offered her. "Oh come on. We're not that bad," whined Setsuna with a pout, to which everyone gave her heart-piercing stare. Even Mika and Himawari weren't taking that face down. "Okay, we'll tone it down. Sheesh, we just like saying people happy together," grumbled Mina, crossing her arms with a pout. "There is a fine line between trying to help others and trying to get into their business, Ishido. We are just asking you to learn to differentiate between the two," sighed Momo before smiling. "Even good intentions could cause problems sometimes." "Alright, let's start so I could go to bed," declared Saya before looking at Mina. "Alright Pinky, how are we doing this?" "Simple. I give a guy's name and we talk about them. It's basically a smash or pass game. But for more than just SEC, what we think about them as possible husbands and fathers in the future. I mean, our friends are quite good looking, no?" grinned Mina widely, while the other girls blushed at the idea. "Alright, what the hell is the worst that could happen? Come on you two. Let's do this," sighed Saya. Everyone quickly murmured their agreement. "Okay. First off we go with Ida. So what are your opinions on our resident robo-hero?" asked Setsuna teasingly before chuckling. There was some giggles at the nickname. It wasn't meant to be offensive, but Tenya was just very uptight and by-the-book in attitude like an actual robot. Raise your hands if you think of a pass at a possible relationship," said Momo before she raised her hand. The others to do the same were Ochako, Saya, Arashir, Yui, Kinoko, Setsuna, Mina, Yui and Pony. Well, that's more passes than I thought." "Opinions?" asked Ochako in surprise. "Well, she raised her hand because she'd taken obviously. And because Ida wasn't her type. Well, Ida is a very good and earnest person. That much we can say about him. He is responsible and mature, which would be important for a partner and a future parent, as well as a hard worker, so it's to be expected of him to take care of his family to the most of his abilities," Momo said, offering her input. Even if he wasn't her type, she still felt the need to give him the credit he deserved. "Well, I agree with you on that. Ida, despite being a bit too into rules, is still a very caring person, and would make a great husband and dad ribbit," said Tsuyu with croak. "HR is also good looking. And built like a tank, an actual tank. I say a 9 out of 10 on the scale of looks and hotness ribbit." That sounds accurate enough. "Anyone has an argument against that?" asked Momo looking around her. There was no objections to that, so that means everyone agreed. "Alright then I guess we move to the next person." Setsuna grinned at that. "Well, next we have the dorm's resident generator. Denki Kaminari. Come on ladies, what do you think of him? Smash or pass?" There was a pause as the girls thought for a second. Then the only girls to raise their hands were Ochako, Momo, Mira, Yui and Saya. The rest of the girls kept their hands down. Kaminari was slightly flirty, but honestly compared to Mineta he might as well be a saint. "Well, Kaminari is sweet," started Setsuna. "He's nice, I mean yeah, he grows some cheesy lines every now and then and flirts from time to time, but pulls off whenever it gets awkward, and unlike a certain midget respects personal space. He's not the brightest, but he is surely nice. I say he would be the romantic type that brings flowers and chocolates every now and then, and always try to keep your attention." There was a wave snickers at that. Yes, the girls could absolutely imagine the blonde Pikachu doing that type of things, and they have to admit that it was kinda cute. Plus, he would surely be a good dad, the type that's more a friend to his kids who plays with them. And would surely be close to them, so you could say that parenting would be surprisingly strong suit of his, mused Mina loudly. There was a round of hums at that, as the girls considered what Mina said. Yes, Kaminari looked like the type of dad that would be more like a friend to his kids than some uptight fearsome father figure or whatever, which honestly in their opinion was better for their taste. So I guess we give him a 9 out of 10 too? I mean, he's not Hercules, but he's a hero student, so hence pretty decent in build, and cute, very cute to be perfectly honest. As well as a great husband, and definitely a guy with daddy vibes and energy, summarized Momo. This was turning out more interesting than she thought actually. Never thought our blonde dunce would make quite good partner. Then again, we only see him in classwork, so we can't tell other good qualities without discussing them, mused Setsuna. Okay. Now we go with Eiji, grinned Mina looking around. So what do you think of our manly redhead ladies? There was a short pause before some girls raised air hands. Again, Ochako and Momo and Mira and Yui, with the addition of Reiko, Tsuyu, Pony, Kinoko, Saya, and surprisingly Setsuna as well. Mina looked at the girls in surprise before she turned her head to Setsuna with a look of utter betrayal on her face. Oh come on Mina-chan, don't give us that look. I mean yeah, we said we're not interested in him, but we still appreciate him, chuckled Setsuna. Well then I guess I'll say that when speaking about the passionate hard redhead, the first thing I gave you say is manly. There was snickers in the room that turned laughter. With that, Yui kept speaking. He looks like the type of person that would take his role in a relationship seriously as a man, you know, like the small gestures of pulling a chair, offering you his arm and other things. There was collective whistles at that. Plus, he would totally be a trustworthy husband. Now that's one guy you surely wouldn't worry about getting with someone else behind your back, because it's against everything he believes in, added Itsuko with a hum. He would always be honest with you because he doesn't strike me as the type to lie unless in work, which is acceptable. But other than that I believe he is the type to always come clean with his partner. There was murmurs of agreement at that. Kirishima always came off as the type to value honesty above all else, something the girls could easily appreciate in a man. And let's not forget how open with others he is. I bet his kids would never hesitate to bring their concerns and troubles to him, because they know he would help them without hesitation. Plus, he would be a similar type of dad to Kaminari, so parenting would totally be his thing. Ribbit, added Tsuyu with a croak. So I guess we give him a 9 out of 10 too. I mean he's built like Hercules, especially his arms, and cute, very cute to be perfectly honest. As well as a great husband and definitely a guy with dad energy. Momo decided. Plus, don't forget the most important thing, grinned Mina, causing everyone to look at her in confusion. Once she gained their attention she spoke. The quirk we all know. And one lucky girl in the future would come to love, if you know what I mean. Most of the girls turned to tomatoes, with Ochako and Ibara being the closest to an actual one. Mina and Setsuna just laughed at their expressions. There was an exception though. Saya looked thoughtful at what Mina said before nodding her head. I changed my mind, Detroit Smash. I am totally trying that one before he gets someone for serious, declared Saya. Everyone gaped at her, causing her to raise an eyebrow. What? You can't be serious, deadpanned Ochako. To which Saya grinned. Oh I totally am serious, round face. That guy sounds like one hell of a great partner and I just need to see it for myself. It definitely sounds like one in a lifetime experience. There was a pause, with Mina internally moaning at having someone else now trying to get her dream boyfriend. Well, Saya said she was interested in a one-time thing, but she might decide to keep him. Mina won't let it happen. Well, moving on, started Setsuna, trying to gain back the momentum. We have the dual-haired eye candy Shoto Todoroki. The only two hands to be raised were Mira and Yui. Ochako and Momo decided that passing every single boy would look suspicious too much. So, opinions ladies? Tell us what you think of the resident conspiracy theorist of our dorms, grinned Mina, clapping her hands. Now that's definitely one guard to judge. I mean that Todoroki is very hard to see how he would be as a boyfriend, because honestly our friend is still trying to learn about friendships and meaningful human interactions. So this might be a bit too advanced girl him, sighed Ochako in exasperation and sadness. The rest of the girls followed her example. Shoto was, well, definitely a one hell of a complicated case to put as one of the biggest understatements of the century, and they honestly have no idea on where to even start on the mess that was his lifelong trauma that only ended a couple months ago when his dad was killed. Which should be another trauma, but in reality was a cause for celebration to him. Dear All Might, give them strength. Well, to be positive, his trauma alone would make sure he is bring a good partner. If anything, we should worry about him trying a bit too hard if his lady has to worry about anything, voiced Mira. And she could see the poor boy trying way too much to keep his girlfriend happy, with gifts and compliments and stuff. But, well, something that a patient and understanding girl could help him through. Because let's be honest, he deserves all good things he could get. Everyone voiced their agreement to that quickly, swearing to make sure whoever girl Shoto ever expresses interest in to be worthy of him, because he doesn't deserve another heartbreak, damn it. He would absolutely be a good dad. A great one. If anything, he has a large list of what you not do. You will follow it. And he will go great, shrugged Saya. One good thing Endeavor did to his kids is being an example of every single thing a parent shouldn't do. His kids have everything to avoid listed by now. I would totally put him in a 9.5/10. He's just too hot not to. I would give him a 10, but I'm saving that for someone else, shrugged Mira, skillfully ignoring the looks she got from the other girls. He would definitely be a good husband and dad. One that tries his best, and let's be honest, that's all a woman could ask for. Nobody is perfect. There was a murmur of agreement at that. Yes, nobody is perfect, no man is perfect, and they won't claim that they will be either. Everyone makes mistakes, what matters is avoiding them as much as possible. Alright, next, grinned Mina before she was interrupted by Momo, who coughed into her hand, making everyone else look at her. Well, Ashido, as fun as this night was, I really think that it's time to draw this to a close, said Momo, causing Setsuna to look at her in surprise. Huh? Why? Oh come on, it's starting to get fun, complained Setsuna. I think she got a point. It's 5 before midnight. And we have training tomorrow, sweat dropped Mira, surprised how quickly the time flew, but she'll admit that she had a good time with everyone. They should definitely do that more often. The last one for tonight is Bakugo, said Mina, looking around her. So what do you think? Okawe. Maybe one more. Surprisingly, no hands were raised at that. A minute passed but no one raised their hands. Mina looked around in surprise. That definitely was unexpected. The class resident Bomberanian getting the highest score possible is really something. Okay, I can't believe you. All of you? Asked Mira around in surprise. She had a crush on the guy. That was the worst kept secret in this dorms, same with Yui. And probably Mei, although she was too dense to realize it. But the rest had the hots for him? You all would go for him if you had the chance? Why? Did you ever taste his cooking Arashi-chan rib bit? Asked Tsuyu bluntly. Her expression and tone both flat, earning a wince from everyone. Okay, away. Fair point, they have to admit. A man that can cook and really well too is a rare quality, especially in Japan where women were the ones still in charge of the house chores. Yeah right, I'll give you that one. I mean, just picture it with me. You had a long day as a hero, got into multiple fights or had a long rescue mission, was hounded by fans and your face hurts from smiling too much to the cameras. You come home tired and just done with today. And there he is, he came maybe a bit earlier, and once you're home the smell of some foreign dish assaults you, described Setsuna, and boy they could imagine it. God damn it Setsuna, you made just the perfect scene for that one quality, snapped Itsuka. She, like the other girls, blushed furiously at the image, especially that with all his faults Bakugo showed to be a big softy. Sure, he was loud, and his mouth could a thorough clean up with soap, but he was still caring. After all, he cooked for all of on the summer camp despite being sore like hell. That alone deserves some points. Yeah, I mean, if he could cook for an entire 3 classes in half an hour or so after that hell training, what do you think he would cook to his tired lady after just a normal day in his life? I mean, he admitted that curry is the most mediocre thing he can make, and it was already heavenly and what he made today. So yeah, I say cooking alone put him in advantage, admitted Mina. And, other than that, what would he be like as a partner in your opinions? Asked Reiko around. There was a pause before Itsuka spoke. Well, to be fair, other than the fact that he addresses us with nicknames, he really hasn't done anything mean or disrespectful to any of us. I mean, yes, he is loud and brash, but honestly, believe it or not, I've seen people more hot-blooded and loud. So I say he is pretty decent at that front. Yeah, like the tornado guy from Shiketsu. He is much louder somehow. I didn't even know it was possible, giggled Kinoko. The rest soon followed. Yeah, that was one hell of an experience, meeting someone louder than their resident Bomberanian was. An experience. God help the guy's classmates and teachers. So, he is respectful in his own way. I mean, he went to I-Island with Hatsum, and he was the responsible one out of the two. Even going as far as to keep her from trouble and walk her around, so I say despite his wild exterior, he is sweet. Because let's be honest, Hatsum is a piece of work, deadpanned Yui. There was a wince at that. So yeah, plus he seems to be the type to be protective of his girlfriend. You all would appreciate the gesture, I think, because I sure would. There was a round of nods or vocal confirms. Yes, and he seems like the type to spoil his girlfriend for no reason. I mean, he only talked about his sister passingly, and he seems to already be planning to spoil her rotten when he graduates and starts making money. So if he is into spoiling his sister, he sure as hell would spoil his girlfriend. And wife. And most importantly kids, said Mira with a blush at the last part. Fair point. And speaking of kids, his baby sister seems to make him smile whenever mentioned, so I guess he has under all those rough and sharp edges a soft spot for kids. I could definitely appreciate a man that likes kids, because I want more than one rib bit, croaked Tsuyu thinking about it. Plus, started Setsuna with sly grin. That put the girls at unease. Did you see how aggressive and straightforward he is in fights? I could definitely appreciate it if he was similar in the bedroom. Many faces exploded with steam, and turned so red everyone in the common room looked like a steamed tomatoes. Tokei-chan, snapped Momo, she had a boyfriend, damn it. She was participating to not draw suspicions. This is no way to talk about our classmate. I mean, she's not wrong, shrugged Yui, making everyone look at her surprised. I mean, our resident Bomberanian is all about being on top and all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one dominant in the bedroom. If anything, that sounds like fun. Now even Setsuna joined the club of tomato faces along with Mina, although the pink girl was more purple than red, funny enough. Deciding that this wasn't enough, Momo decided to draw this to a close, which definitely didn't have anything to do with her imagination flooding her mind with thoughts about her own boyfriend being very similar to that and how much she would like to try that. So, I would, for being above everyone else in both looks and house skills, I give Bakugo, and I'm as surprised as all of you. A perfect 10 out of 10 on the scale, mostly because, shockingly, despite being with the same place as people like Shoji, Sato, Kirishima, Tetsutetsu and Imasuji, he actually has the most muscles compared to his height, deduced Momo. Mira and Yui looked gloating at that, the simps. Well, his quirk is about explosions. Do you have any idea how hard he would be to be able to tank those? Ochako went to explain but trailed off because in this type of conversation she just worded it wrongly. There was a pause because honestly, everyone was trying to calculate that themselves, while Ochako and Momo were busy remembering what it felt like to sleep with a man as sturdy as All Might, which made them turn red again. So to sum up, as I said, a 10 out of 10. He would be a good if slightly spoiling husband and father. A bit rough around the edges but definitely with a very soft side. The type to help around in the house and a great cook. Any objections? Asked Momo. There was none. Alright then. Time to go to bed. Oh no, it's 30 past midnight? Everyone panicked and went to their bedrooms. Did they seriously spend 30 minutes alone speaking about one guy? Next day, Shoyuta, Sekijiro and Mirai had to wonder why in the actual hell were some of the boys looking at the girls with blushes, why the boys were getting appraising looks, and why in the actual hell was Bakugo being glanced at by few of the girls. Today was for super moves, not observation skills. Once Rabbits was done with all the crying, because she cries a lot on multiple occasions for multiple reasons like being happy, sad, angry and anything else, she is a crier. She sighed and left the office after giving her thanks to her new boss for this internship. She had a lot to unpack. As in, more than just her idol thinking she was smart and good or being in an internship with her idol, but the fact that she was getting a quirk possibly in 7 to 8 months, if OT much sooner than that. She was going to have a quirk after all this time. After all the years of bullying, neglect, abuse and belittling, she was finally going to be like everyone else. She was finally going to have a quirk. It's surreal, honestly. And apparently she was getting something powerful too. Late bloomers never get quirks beneath class 4 and Rabbit could only fantasize over what she would get. Her donor had simple pyrokinesis quirk and her egg donor had a simple technology-related quirk that she used for programming. Nothing fancy for either of them and both class 2 at that. So guessing what she could get would be hard. Late bloomers usually get completely different quirks from their birth parents, so she shouldn't limit herself to what her birthers had. She could practically get anything. The possibilities are endless. The idea made her salivate. She loved quirks, they were the passion of her life. She liked to see how they work and function, how they activate, how they manifest. She spent all her times in the past on quirk discussion forums talking with people more knowledgeable and absorbing the information like a sponge. No, if she keeps thinking like that she won't sleep and she needs to start early tomorrow, she must work out the excessive energy. But where was the gym again? Hey there, new recruit. Are you lost or something? I know this place can be like a maze at first, said Mustard as he greeted her cheerfully. Rabbit decided that Mustard had an amazing timing. Sorry FF for forgetting B but WH, where is the GG gym again? Stuttered Rabbit. She got less anxious in school but never fared well with strangers. Whoa there buddy, no need to be nervous, just follow me and no need to be nervous. Trust me, we are villains here, but unless you are a Redestro fan everyone here will like you, smiled Mustard. F that guy? Rabbit blurted out before she could think. On one hand she was panicking, on the other hand she despised that prick with all she had. US sorry? Oh hell no, you got that one right, laughed Mustard. Come on, follow me. And Rabbits did. She followed him while he started a small talk, asking her if she was enjoying school. He didn't seem particularly a fan of schools, but seeing his age he probably had a bad experiences in the living nightmare that was middle school. She answered him, staring nervously that she liked it in there. As they talked, he confirmed that middle school was the creation of Hades to terrorize people. She couldn't disagree though, so she ended up giving him a pat on the back in solidarity, which he appreciated. The walk wasn't long, 5 minutes were enough, but they had to go to a completely different floor to access the gym. Rabbit was amazed by how big this place was. It was truly worthy of being called a villainous lair. Here we are, kiddo. Have fun. Do you still remember where your room is? Mustard asked gently. Rabbit nodded her head. All right, great. See you later, bunny girl. Don't stay up too long or the hypnosis will sneak on you. Mustard turned and left, but not before giving her a head pat and ruffling her hair a little. Rabbit decided that Mustard was sweet. With a small smile at having someone else liking her, Rabbit pushed the doors of the gym and entered, just to find a blonde young woman with blue eyes working out on some weights. Very heavy weights as well. Rabbit totally froze. She probably looked like the animal she was named after being caught in the headlights right now. Which was embarrassing. The blonde woman noticed her standing there awkwardly. She blinked at her before smiling. Oh, I heard from Deku that we are getting new interns from A.U today, but I was too busy to be here and greet you. My name's Melissa Shield and you darling are? Rabbit thinks that it's logical to find the person who smashed All Might through a wall in a gym. Her strength wasn't just a quirk after all, but hard work too. And Rabbit's decided to answer quickly to not look too scared. Rabbit, she tried to say more, but anxiety is a punk and won't leave her alone. Melissa smiled at that. Rabbit decided that she likes her smile. It was genuine. She dealt with enough fake ones from her teachers to be able to tell the difference. Ah, just like Mustard. Not a big fan of using your real name, huh? Well, no biggie darling, you can call me Melissa. I came here for a light workout before going down to the lab, but if I'm making you feel uncomfortable I could always come back later. Melissa offered. Rabbit quickly shook her head. It's fine. I'm not uncomfortable. I'll just be there, said Rabbit quickly as she went to the leg press machine. She took a seat and took a seated position and started pushing a stack of weight upwards after she adjusted the machine for herself. It's a great way to train your whole lower body well without needing any kind of spotter or assistance. If you want lower body strength and balance, then this is the machine for you. It's one of her favorites because, as stated, no need for assistance, which is something Rabbit liked. She was too shy and anxious to ask for help, so stuff she could on her own was appreciated. Whoa there, kiddo. You got some very strong legs in there. You a fan of Maruko? Asked Melissa in amusement while using the Smith machine. This is more or less a safety system for barbell exercises. The barbell is attached to a track, and it comes complete with safety stops. Yeah, Maruko is, to be honest, the role model for every woman out there. Strong, confident, independent, and doesn't take anyone's bullshit, giggled Rabbit. Melissa found herself surprised. The kid was 2 minutes ago a bundle of social anxiety. Was the training distracting her from her fears? She will tell her boyfriend later. It would be good if they found what lessens her worries. Plus, everyone uses this gym. If working together in here and chatting will get her to open up, then it's worth a try. Got that right. I mean, aside from her rich vocabulary, she's the best person most girls could look up to. Well as Ryukyu, replied Melissa. True, but I like Maruko a bit more because she is more similar to me. I mean, aside from her rabbit mutations giving her super strong kicks and high jumps, her power comes from her training and experience, so a quirkless like me could be just like her with enough hard work, declared Rabbit excitedly. I like how straightforward and confident she is. I wish I could walk to people and say what's on my mind, without a shroud of doubt in myself. But, social anxiety is a punk-ass beach, so I can't even hold eye contact for more than a second. Melissa nodded her head. Sounds familiar. A lot. Would Deku be mad later? Probably not. He would admit it himself if he thought it would help Rabbit. Deku was like that too, revealed Melissa. Rabbit hummed in confusion, so Melissa continued. He was a huge ball of concentrated fears, doubts, social anxiety, uneasiness and self-loathing. So badly that at first had no idea how to even start on the mess that was his successor's mental health. But well, here is Deku, a complete different man. Rabbit looked at her in interest. What did Karma-sama do to become what he is today? An excellent question. Melissa hoped Rabbit would ask that. Well, he believed in those around him who believed in him. Seeing how they thought so highly of him. Well, he started doubting himself less and less until eventually he started believing in himself too, explained Melissa gently. Honestly, Deku came a long way from when she joined. And she enjoyed watching it. Well, I guess the whole feared by the whole country and absolute unquestionable king helped him develop a healthy amount of ego too. Plus the whole #1 villain as well. I mean, anyone would be over their heads by now, but for someone with such low self-esteem it's just checked out, mused Rabbit. Melissa started laughing. Just damn, when you put it like that, you really could see how utterly deep Deku's low opinion on himself was. That's one way of putting it, grinned Melissa. It made sense to her, if a bit begrudgingly. As Melissa moved to a treadmill, Rabbit went to the leg curl machine. The point of the machine Rabbit was using is to improve the strength of her calves and hamstrings. This is a piece of weight training equipment that helps isolate both the hamstrings and glutes. There are both lying and seated versions of the leg curl machine. Rabbit chose the seated version. A treadmill is a piece of cardiovascular exercise equipment that you stand on. It is designed for walking, running, and jogging. For some people it's even meant for sprinting. It's a great way to keep cardiovascular system in great shape while also exercising the lower body. Melissa favored that one because apparently it helps charge her stockpile the fastest because the spent efforts. As the two started exercising, the door were pushed open as they were joined by two new people. "Oh, hey Toru, hey Kyoka," greeted Melissa while the girls waved, already dressed up in gym clothes, which was a cropped tank tops and shorts. "Hey Mel-chan. And oh Rabbit, you're here? Welcome," greeted Toru despite being the one who just came. "How, working out? I mean, I thought you'd like to go to bed early or something," mused Kyoka. Kyoka took the climbers, which is designed to mimic rock climbing. It is an indoor cardiovascular exercise machine that recreates the movement of climbing up a vertical wall, which was a great machine for those learning parkour. Toru took the pull-up bar. As the name implies, it is designed to perform pull-ups. This means that it is ideal for training lats, pecs, triceps, biceps, core and more. Excessive energy sucks outside of fights. "I'm trying to tire myself out or I won't sleep from joy," admitted Rabbit as she kept practicing. "Oh? Joy about what, Bunny-chan?" asked Toru sweetly as she was pulling herself up. "Well, Karma-sama offered me a quirk, but turns out that I already have one about to manifest, although he didn't tell me which class it is. But seeing that mate bloomers get class 4 and higher, it's probably something strong," explained Rabbit. "Oh really? Welcome to the club of late bloomers," grinned Melissa. Oh, now she had someone else to relate to. "This is great. Well, congratulations then. When will it manifest?" asked Kyoka. "Probably before my next birthday, so few months top," answered Rabbit. "Alright. I bet it's gonna be something super duper strong. Congrats Bunny-chan," cheered Toru, happy for the other girl. She was honestly one step better than quirkless people in the eyes of bigots, so she was happy for the younger girl. And now the girls noticed that this girl looked like a girly, younger, black-haired Izuku, and wasn't that just hilarious? And suspicious. Rabbit didn't realize that, in fact, she had not only held a conversation but had fun with other girls, older and very strong, until the next morning. Because she trained to midnight, then immediately crashed into her bed. She panicked, but felt happy that she was easily accepted by the other girls. Felt nice. Deku sighed as he finished his work for the day. Paperwork was, is and always will be the bane of his villainous existence. Like seriously, wasn't there a way for him to get it over with quicker? Even with multitasking it was still a beach to be over with. But that didn't matter, at least until next morning. For now he'll just go and chill with his friends a little. He was tired from the negotiation with those Russians. They were such a pain in he is with that overinflated ego of theirs. In fact, Deku had to literally bring Makia to convince them that he doesn't take the no for an answer. At least the horror on their faces was amusing enough to improve his mood slightly. Oh, and meeting Rabbit. That definitely got his mood up. She was a good kid. And adorable. Would his dad be up for adopting another kid? It would be great. But he needs to rest first. He'll deal with that happy thought tomorrow. So he went to the living room where Dabi, Mustard, Spinner and Hypnosis, who just came back from his mission, were playing a video game together. A racing game now, if that isn't just Deku's favorite. What a coincidence. Oh boss, you're here. Great. We didn't have to bribe you with video games to take a break, said Spinner cheerfully, like he didn't admit that he was gonna try to bribe his boss. Then again, it's better than his girlfriends literally ganging up on him, roping him up and then dragging his miserable ass out of his personal office. No need for that. I'm done for the day, announced Deku. To which his friends gave him a thumbs up. So, can I join? Let us finish this match and you can take my place, said Hitoshi plainly as he was focused on the game. Deku just shrugged his shoulders and decided to watch. Where's Tamura? Asked Deku. HR left after meeting the interns. Said he had something to do, then asked Kurogiri to warp his crusty ass to an arcade in Kyoto. What? There though, replied Dabi, and Deku was with him. Why Kyoto? He usually likes the Tokyo arcades. Deku decided that his brother just didn't feel like going there and started watching the match. The race was finished with Mustard coming in first place, closely followed by Dabi. Hypnosis was third and Spinner was last. Mustard jumped off the bean chair he was using and started doing a hilariously dumb victory dance while whooping. Dabi meanwhile started mumbling curses while Hypnosis maturely left his seat for Deku to sit in. Spinner just sulked in place with a pout on his face. As Deku sat down to start the game, Tamura came in looking confused. Little brother, older brother. I'm confused, said Tamura looking unsure. Okawe. That was more important currently. Dabi paused the game as he and Deku turned to the pale crusty-faced Grim Reaper who looked the most confused he has been. What is it, Tamura? Is something bothering you? Asked Deku in worry. I have a problem. Tamura started. A heart problem. Deku jumped off his chair quickly, looking panicked. Wait, what? Really? What's wrong? You looked fine this morning. Does you chest hurt or dash? Not that type of heart problem, Izuku, grumbled Tamura. Everyone in the room blinked at him. We need more context, buddy. Are having a problem with moms or something? Asked David, his usual sarcasms and snarks gone. Let it be known that Tuya Shigaraki takes his duty as an older brother seriously. Not with our moms, I have a problem with my girlfriend, explained Tamura. Spinner chose the worst possible moment to drink some soda, because he ended up sitting it all on Mustard's face, like a water cannon. Mustard would have been royally pissed off if it weren't for the fact that his brain crashed. There was a pause as Tamura stared at the unblinking frozen four villains. But it was broken quickly as Dabi sighed. Alright, you can't take a 2D chick from one of your games as a girlfriend, that's just a whole as new problem to address, deadpan Dabi. I really want to snap at you, right? Started Tamura before sighing. But I deserve that. And the answer is no, it's real living 3D girl. No jokes in here. WHAT? The four screamed in shock. That got the attention of the people in the bar as Kurogiri, Stain, Nagant, Gentle, Razor and Compress came into the common room quickly. What's wrong? Is everything alright? Asked Kurogiri, noting how Dabi and Deku stared at Tamura in disbelief. I told them that I'm having problems with my totally real and alive 3D girlfriend and they froze, deadpan Tamura. The adults had the same reaction. You? Mustard pointed at Tamura. Have a girlfriend? Sorry, but you expect to believe that? Whoa. Let's not get racist or quirkiest or socialist in here, said Deku before looking at Tamura. Does she know you're a villain? Tamura nodded. Is she an adult? Another nod. Is she liberally dating you? The F's that mean? Asked Tamura with a growl. Answer the question, Tamura, sighed Deku. She was the one to ask me out, damn it. We met in an arcade a while ago and we hit it off, grumbled Tamura. Everyone was coming to the surreal realization that Tamura was absolutely serious and has a MN actual living 3D human girlfriend, who's probably blind or deaf or has a death wish, but they are not ones to judge. Okay. Do you have a name? Asked Kurogiri, looking and sounding somewhat excited. Such an uncle. You won't believe me, deadpan Tamura. Try me. Deku smiled. He will believe his brother. Tamura was a psychopath, sociopath, whatever else, but he wasn't a liar. Rumi Usajiyama, replied Tamura flatly. Razor, just like Spinner, chose the absolutely worst moment to take a sip of her beer because she spat it all on Mr. Compress, although he didn't register it as he was busy having all that his systems crashing hard. There was a long pause at that until Stain managed to speak. How? In the actual hell? Did you score that rabbit woman? I need to know. There was no bite to his words, just shock, disbelief, and a healthy amount of suspicion. Started Tamura. Few months ago. Tamura Shigaraki loved arcades. It had the best games, sure he had consoles back at the base, but nothing beats good old coin machines and games. He was playing Mario Karts now and killing it. Yes, he said a pun, sue him, his dad and brother would beat you in the court. But as he was having fun he heard someone curse. Shitty cheating mother samurais, a feminine voice but still tough, growled. Tamura glanced by his side. Just to see someone familiar in a hoodie hiding their features and looking perfectly normal. Oh? What the hell is the rabbit hero doing here? Shouldn't you be out here living some dipshit in the face? Asked Tamura sarcastically. I don't know, shouldn't you be dusting some buildings full of quirk supremacists or some shit? Rumi shot back with a raised brow. Fair, shrugged Tamura. Just wanted to get away. Deku keeps watching and monitoring my eyes all the time. It pisses me off. Rumi raised a brow at that, surprised. So, you also need supervision 24/7 by your much more calm brother figure? Tamura mumbled something before replying. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of bullshit. I just want to enjoy a good fight and kick, no, obliterate asses of my enemies. Is it such a bad thing? Tamura ranted. Rumi scoffed at that. Oh, course not. That's what I'm saying. What's the point of maxing out your stats if then you're not allowed to fight? It's bullshit. Tamura paused his gale before looking at her. Was that a gaming terminology? Rumi raised a skeptical eyebrow at the question. Yeah, what is it to you? Tamura immediately and without giving a damn about people around them hugged her. Where were you all my life? I just want someone who gets la damn it. Rumi reluctantly patted his back. Well, I guess we can meet up from time to time. Tamura pulled back and grinned at her. Wanna have a duel like we talked about? I know an old and used warehouse few streets away, and a burger place just one street away from it. Rumi blinked at him, then grinned, her eyes shining. Oh hell yes, crusty lips. Let's go have some fun, declared Rumi before she grabbed his arm. Back to the present. Everyone stared at Tamura slack-jawed with their eyes almost bugging out of their sockets. No way it was that easy to become friends. What happened after that? Asked Deku. He was getting increasingly more scared of details, but his duty as the responsible one was to listen. We fought for hours, which was super fun. And then we went to Burgers, we had both a huge meals and then went for ice cream because why not? Then she invited for video games, so we played the newest edition of Call of Duty together for some time then. Tamura blushed, which just was wrong on his face in their opinion. We might or might not have done the devil's tango together if you get what I mean? Kurogiri fainted. Only caught by stain. The rest were just staring at him in disbelief. Well, Mustard was looking at him like he was a god, but Deku wasn't in the mood. Yo, addressed that one. Because holy F, what in the absolute shit? Tamura Shigaraki, fanatic gamer, only 2DS, a social nailed Maruko? The woman of many people's dreams. What the F? I see, and what's the problem? Did you have a fight or something? Deku decided that he wasn't getting paid enough for this shit, and that he should be done with this CNVSAP and phone call Ryuko, because their worst nightmare just came to reality. No, we didn't. If anything, I would say that we're very satisfied when we split up today, admitted Tamura. Dabi looked ready to throw up. Stain put Kurogiri down and went to grab drinks. Nagant helped the unconscious bartender into a couch, and Compress was still watching the interaction in disbelief. Then what's the problem? Asked Deku in confusion. How does a villain propose and marry his heroine girlfriend without causing a fiasco? Asked Tamura, finally getting to the point. There was a pause. A long one this time. As Deku was trying to see if this is a huge prank, but nope, his brother was serious. He was in love and was evident in his face. Holy. All for one. Deku's life as supervillain and before that villain and before that a quirkless kid, did not prepare him for bullshit of this magnitude. I don't know, but I'll phone call Nedzu and see if there's anything we could do under the table like fakes IDs or something. Why don't you go to your room and we can discuss this more thoroughly tomorrow? Deku offered. He wants to meet up with his friends and drink. A lot. He is too tired for this shit, damn it. Reaper beamed. Really? You really are the best brother in the world. I'll try to research what the hell weddings are actually like later, and with that Tamura bolted off. Deku collapsed into his bean chair, just as Stain Kale with a box of their strongest drinks. Dabi didn't even ask as he grabbed a bottle and started chugging down the liquor without a care in the world. Hell had frozen over because that shit we just saw? It must be the only possible explanation to what that was about, declared Dabi with a groan. Everyone agreed on that. When wakes from his dreamland, tell him I went to meet up with Shoyuta and Ryuko. Later guys, I got some friends to wail my problems too, said Deku as he snapped his fingers. Meanwhile, Ryuko was doing some last-minute paperwork before she was texted by Deku to meet up, which was worrying. What did his kindergarten do this time? Why do I hear boss music? Mumbled Ryuko with an uneasy expression. And what's the problem, Tamura-kun? Did you have a fight with your girlfriend or something similar? If so, I assure you that it's common, asked Deku as he decided that he wasn't getting paid enough for this shit, and that he should be done with this CNVSAP and phone call Ryuko, because their worst nightmare just came to reality. No, we didn't. If anything, I would say that we're very satisfied when we split up today, admitted Tamura. Dabi looked ready to throw up. Stain put Kurogiri down and went to grab drinks. Nagant helped the unconscious bartender into a couch, and Compress was still watching the interaction in disbelief, with Razor taking large gulps of her drink to cop with whatever this is. Then what's the problem? Asked Deku in confusion. If everything is alright, then why is he telling them this? How does a villain propose and marry his heroine girlfriend without causing a fiasco? asked Tamura, finally getting to the point. There was a pause. A long one this time. As Deku was trying to see if this is a huge prank, but nope, his brother was serious. He was in love and was evident in his face. Holy. All for one. Deku's life as supervillain and before that villain and before that a quirkless kid, did not prepare him for bullshit of this magnitude. I don't know, but I'll phone call Nedzu and see if there's anything we could do under the table like fakes IDs or something to make it work. Why don't you go to your room and we can discuss this more thoroughly tomorrow? I mean, it's getting pretty late for life-changing discussions. Deku offered. He wants to meet up with his friends and drink. A lot. He is too tired for this shit, damn it. Why does his family and friends have to be this crazy? This is supposed to be a villainous organization, damn it. Not a kindergarten class for nuclear psychopaths. Reaper beamed. Really? You really are the best brother in the world, Izuku. Alright, I'll go try to research what the hell weddings are actually like later, guys. Thanks a lot. And with that, Tamura bolted off. A love-struck expression on his face. Deku collapsed into his bean chair, just as Stain came with a box of their strongest drinks. Dabi didn't even ask as he grabbed a bottle and started chugging down the liquor without a care in the world. Hell had frozen over, my friends, because with that crazy shit we just saw? It must be the only possible explanation to what that was about, declared Dabi with a groan. Everyone agreed on that. When Kurogiri wakes from his happy dreamland, tell him I went to meet up with Shoyuta and Ryuko. Later, guys, I got some friends to wail my problems too, said Deku as he snapped his fingers. Dark sludge started covering him and in few seconds he was gone. The Shigarakis. Demon Nerd, I wish to announce that Insanity had hit the League of Villains headquarters hard, and ask for help in creating a new manor in the moon. Demon Lord? Green Beauty? Ice Angel? Hell Devil? The moon? F the moon. I say we go to Pluto. It's the farthest we could go. You can make a warp gate quirk to get us there, right? Demon Nerd, theoretically yes, it's possible with the right quirk cocktail. Hell Devil, we are saved. Green Beauty, my dear boys. Are you drunk? Ice Angel, not scientifically possible for Aizu, maybe Tuya and Tamura but not Aizu. Hell Devil, ouch, but fair. Demon Lord, explanation. No. Demon Nerd, gladly. Demon Nerd, our dear Tamura or Tenko when in the family has, and I'm not making it up. Demon Nerd, a real 3D alive and truly human girlfriend. Demon Lord? Green Beauty? Ice Angel? Demon Lord, one of my life's fantasies comes true. Green Beauty, are you absolutely sure about this, honey? It's not maybe a weird prank? Hell Devil, I wish, but no, he came to us asking for relationship advices, and his face is so love-struck I want to puke. Hell Devil, the Reaper himself looked like a lovesick puppy. Holy shit. Demon Nerd, yes, he personally confirmed that she is real, and honestly, believe or not, his relationship is working well. Ice Angel, how well? Hell Devil, well enough had he met her in an arcade in the morning, and he ended up wrestling her in her own bed at night, which holy hell. Demon Nerd, I now could trace the first night he spent away few months ago actually, right after Shoto's first stream. Demon Lord? Green Beauty? Ice Angel? Demon Lord, this is the best day in my life. Green Beauty, why? I don't want to ruin the mood for you two, my love and my bestie, but, does she realize who she dating? That girl I mean. Hell Devil, yes, and she is perfectly fine with it too, believe or not. Demon Nerd, she was the one to ask him out actually. Demon Lord, who is this brave and strong woman that could steal the heart of that fanatic gamer I call my son? I need to know. Oh. Hell Devil, you won't believe us, it's... Wait for it. Demon Nerd, Rumi freaking Usajiyama, Rabbit Hero Maruko herself. Demon Lord, what? Green Beauty, what? Ice Angel, what? Demon Lord, are we sure it's not a trap? Demon Nerd, Dad, this Maruko we are talking about, do you really see her doing something she doesn't want, like picking out the trash, let alone a relationship? If she and Tamura weren't a real thing, she could have kicked him straight in the face. And you know that. Demon Lord, holy moly donut shop, you're right. Oh. Green Beauty, Tenko-kun got a girlfriend. Ice Angel, well now I just need to see Tuya-kun find his life partner and we're golden. Omega. Hell Devil, on. Demon Nerd, honestly let's wait, this already a headache. Demon Lord, oh don't be melodramatic, it's not like Maruko will seduce him to ditch you and rat you out, to Nedzu. Demon Nerd, Dad, Tenko came to me asking for me to scheme with Nedzu how to freaking arrange him a MF marriage. You really don't think that this relationship will be a headache? How would we even manage in the future? They are a hero and a villain. Top hero and a supervillain in fact. Green Beauty, Momo-chan and Ochako-chan will be top heroes and you are already picking the best ring for both, honey. Demon Nerd? Yeah, but their loyalty is for me and they're willing to ditch the heroes and the drop of a hat if I tell them to. Ice Angel? Fair, but honestly I see Maruko telling the world to get lost ID they found out about it. I mean, come on, it's not like they will risk the terrifying rabbit hero going rogue. Demon Lord? Plus, we can manage with a camouflage quirk and some fake IDs. As well as some other arrangements. We even have DNA falsifying quirks and we can swap decay in the future if it appeared. Demon Nerd? I know, I'm more scared of the damage they could cause in one of their passion arguments. Demon Lord? I will admit that it's a terrifying concept. But you will manage. Demon Lord, I sure hope so. Green Beauty, watch doing? Where is our little lover? Laughing face. Hell Devil. Tenko is in his room researching what weddings are actually like. Ice Angel. Green Beauty. Demon Lord. Wow, Cupid decided that our little gamer is a lost cause and went F this guy and grabbed a love artery battery instead of the bow. Oh. Demon Nerd, that's what Mustard said. I really hope that no episodes like this show up for some time, because I need some time to recover. Demon Lord, trust me, this is good. Your girlfriend's made happier and now Tenko could have the same experience. Hell Devil, we know, I just hope that family dinners wouldn't get too awkward. Demon Lord, how's Rabbit doing by the way? Smiley face. Demon Nerd, I only had her for some time but if anything happens to her I will destroy and massacre this country then off myself. Hell Devil Yish. Oh. Demon Lord, welcome to my world. Demon Nerd. Also, I wish to massacre her real parents and everyone that even crossed paths with her. Green Beauty, alright, hold your horses Hades and Satan. Don't get too excited. Demon Lord, sorry. Demon Nerd, sorry. Hell Devil. Okay, I'll admit that I like the little brat, she's adorable but way too anxious, she's more jumpy than you ever were. That's actually sad. Demon Lord, don't think lowly of her, she's pretty good with swords, knives, guns and so on. And extremely skilled in hand-to-hand combat, and on-the-fly quirk analysis. Hell Devil, so to sum up, a mini-boss. Hell Devil, hey Mommy Inko, are you sure your idiot ex didn't cheat on you before off Yo the USA? Green Beauty, honestly? I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Ice Angel, ouch. Demon Nerd, Mom, do you really see your dead ex going through 10 years without the deed either? Ice Angel, ugh. Demon Lord, whatever, back to Rabbit. What do you think of that little jewel? XD. Demon Nerd, an absolutely intelligent and cunning little snake is hiding under all that anxiety. I finally found my little minion in right hand. Ahaha. Hell Devil, R.I.P. Hero Society. Ice Angel, amen. Green Beauty, amen. Demon Nerd, on another note, are you guys interested in adopting her? As in, officially? Demon Lord, I would be delighted. I always wanted a daughter. Green Beauty, honey? You're a 2-century-and-a-half-old mastermind villain. Ice Angel, didn't have any kids before? Real ones? Demon Lord, not really. Tamura is the first child I ever took care of ever since Yoichi, and you two are, and I'm being truly honest here, the first women in my life. So I'm still learning what dating is like. Demon Nerd. Hell Devil, boss, are you sure he's not your real dad? Oh. Green Beauty, I'm telling Garaki to run DNA tests on you two, Rabbit and Tenko right now. Demon Nerd, Inko, if we had an affair I assure I wouldn't have forgotten it. I could never forget a woman like you. Green Beauty, sweet, I just need to confirm something. That's all. Demon Nerd, whatever. So back to Rabbit. No objections on the adoption? Hell Devil, nope. Cool with me. Demon Lord, it would be my absolute pleasure, I assure you, my boy. Green Beauty, me too. Ice Angel, I would be happy with this. Demon Lord, so did you offer our little girl a quirk? For all. Demon Nerd, yes, but apparently it wasn't needed. Demon Lord, oh? I didn't use all for one on her. What class is her soon-to-be quirk? Demon Nerd, class 6. Demon Lord, oh. Hell Devil, oh. Green Beauty, oh. Ice Angel, oh. Demon Nerd, yes, like all for one, one for all, rewind, new order and so on. Hell Devil, holy shit. Oh. Demon Nerd, I love your choice in intern's dad. Demon Lord, wow, she'll fit in our family just fine, huh? Winking and laughing. Green Beauty, good, because I always wanted to have a real daughter. Ice Angel, I miss Fuyumi. Demon Nerd, want me to arrange a meeting, Mom? It shouldn't be hard with Warp Gate and some disguise. Hell Devil, already on it. Ice Angel, I love you dears. Smiley face. Demon Nerd, same. Smiley face. Hell devil, same. Smiley face. Deku Shigaraki had dealt with a lot of strange, weird and extremely bizarre things all his life, and the normal of this time is the Ost's bullshit. His dad was a 2.5-century-old mastermind villain, his brothers could destroy a small city on their own, he was dating 7 women and get 5 kids despite being 16. Yes, his life was bizarre bullshit even. And he didn't know what the actual F he was doing most of the time. Plus, what happened yesterday with Tamura had made to the top of his damn list. For last night at least, unfortunately for Deku. Because right now, despite all the weirdness he was dealing with recently, this just topped the list. He looked ahead of him at what was happening and cleared his ears. Could you repeat what you just said to me, but this time be slightly more generous with details? Asked Deku Shigaraki in confusion. It was early morning now, 7 am actually. He was planning to wake up Rabbit in a while to start the internships and then this happened. His brain, however honed it was with all the planning, quirk analysis, scheming and so on, simply refused to unpack the last words he heard. It was too much. Because what the F? Is it contagious? We want to marry, sighed Hitoshi Shinso, their resident mini eraserhead, cat lover, #Team Caffeine. Mr. I shoot people in the face with a smile and the most asocial person Deku knew besides Tamura, oh and possibly a sociopath/psychopath/ whatever else, with a wide and happy smile. Making Deku realize that he was wrong, and that Hitoshi knew how to use his facial muscles to do things besides making a deadpan expression. What a twist. He was standing in front of Deku in the Leader-sama office as they call it. With Howler of all people, which by the way excuse? They were holding hands. They were holding hands. What the FIS it with this week? Was everyone here inspired by him somehow? Because she has the most beautiful smile and I want to do my best to protect it, smiled Hitoshi-kun wider, unaware of just how wrong those words sounded coming out from his mouth. Deku saw him laughing while he shot his pleading and wailing foster parents right between the eyes for F's. Sake. But I can't do it legally. Because, we are villains. So I want you to just announce it in here. Make it official at least within the league and at best in your whole empire. You are the boss after all, and even if some doesn't acknowledge it yet, the villain emperor. So you have that type of power, yes. Deku was beginning to suspect that Rabbit awoke some powerful insanity quirk because honestly this was the only reasonable explanation for Hitoshi saying those words. With a face of someone so utterly love-struck. Deku is getting flashbacks of Tamura yesterday. Wait, is this contagious? Holy F. Are you alright with that? Said Deku while towards the poor wolf-like girl. He kinda expects Hitoshi to have just kidnapped the poor girl. He also expected her to answer only with a shake or a nod of her head, due to how silent she supposedly was. He, much to his shame, was too busy to meet anyone between his meeting with Rabbit, the whole thing with Tamura, and then drinking with Ryuko who ended up going down the drain into despair like him and Shoyuta who ended up dragging them both out and stopping them from drinking like lunatics. Yes, she said quietly, doing her best to look him in the eyes. Very much, sir. Hitoshi was now grinning from ear to ear. Which what the F? He looked like Shoyuta now in ways Deku wasn't comfortable with. Deku was even more lost now. Perhaps Rabbit has some form of dimensional travel quirk and sent karma to another universe? Maybe when Deku hugged her? They might have switched universes with their local equivalents at that moment. Because not just one but 2 of the lost cases in love inside the League Toga and Toru tried, it was utter failure much to their despair. Falling head over heels like that is just bats hit insane. Don't you know each other for like 10 hours or something? They nodded their heads together in full agreement. Hitoshi confidently, Howler slightly but still happily. Okay, so can you tell me what exactly happened? Because honestly this did come out of the blue. I was watching a movie during the night. And then after a few minutes in, this cutie came. Hitoshi was blissfully unaware of Deku twitching in disbelief at the adjective used by one Hitoshi Shinso. She was beautiful, so I told her that. Before I even realized it, I tried to apologize, but then I looked at her. She was shocked and asked me what part of her is beautiful. So I listed them all because she seemed more worried than offended. Her ears and a tail that are fluffy and pretty. Her eyes that are so different and I like to look at them because of that. She smiled a bit and I added her smile to the list. Which honestly made her happier. Deku had to wonder how the F did they end up being enough, was his social awkwardness as well as his inability to lie because how blunt he was, as well as his liking to animal features on girls, all enough to push the right buttons on the lonely, asocial and horrifyingly insecure girl to make her fall in love? Just like that? Beginner's luck probably. It was like a commander of an army besieging a city coming to negotiate, accidentally walking through an unmarked minefield and managing to on an accident, once again persuade the besieged that he is a god in flesh and making them promptly surrender unconditionally before his divine might. And then walking away, through that very same minefield again, further establishing the impression. The little wolf girl is practically melting next to Hitoshi when she hears the words repeated in front of someone else. She would have hit her face with her hands if one of them wasn't occupied by the hypnotizer sharpshooter and mini eraserhead, but she was still doing her best. Despite that, it's obvious that she was very, very red. Then it turned out that she liked my type of movies. Science fiction with some romance on beast-like girls. We watched 2 movies together and her snacks are made straight from heaven. Holy shit. Howler melted even more. She sneaked into the living room in the night to watch something alone. But she won't have to anymore. Hitoshi didn't specify if he means sneaking or watching TV alone. Probably both things. We sit on the couch together for a few hours. Talk about how we were both had horrible families. Gamba find her parents and shoot their faces off. I mean, boss, who in their right minds abandoned a girl this beautiful? Howler suddenly gets even more red. Izuku didn't think that it was possible. Too precious, this is too precious. Deku is on the verge of dying from a sugar overdose despite having a quirk that protects him from that. It's like spending too much time with Eri and Mahoro and Eve simultaneously. This is lethal. Too lethal for his dark heart, damn it. Then Hitoshi Shinso, the man who shot 2-digit number of people and laughed while doing so, actually blushed. His face matches hers in color. Deku suddenly understood that somehow, one of his asocial adopted brothers has actually managed to beat him to at least a certain thing, and this is atrocious considering how long he has girlfriends and how many of them. This morning I decided that I want to stay with her for the rest of my life. And she said that she wanted it too. So we came here. Izuku Shigaraki decides at the moment that he wasn't paid enough to deal with this bullshit. He has issues figuring out his own love life. This is just so much beyond his pay grade. And he can't even talk with Lemillion without betraying that the league got new members. Is it that big of a deal though? He really couldn't care less. Kachan and Lemillion could be useful right now. Alright, so. Hitoshi Shinso and Deku trailed off suddenly and looked at Howler expectingly. Chichi? She says faintly. Chichi Shinso. She already gave up her surname. Well, what do you know? That was fast. He decided. Then again, these 2 lovebirds literally decided to marry and spend their life together a few hours after meeting, which even Tamura, the man-child, didn't do, and Deku sighed. If they are so much into it, maybe Hitoshi will stop being so creepily murderous all the time to outsiders? Well then, you can't exactly do it legally, so I guess if you want it, then you can have it? I, Deku Shigaraki, with the power given to me as the demon lord of evil and the righteous emperor of villains, declare you Hitoshi Shinso and Chichi Shinso to be husband and wife. You are married then. Howler literally jumped in joy. Hitoshi caught her in his arms. In his office. Only the lack of windows stops Deku from jumping through one at the sight. The 2 race out of his office and he already knows what they are planning. He needs to smash his head against the window or distract himself. Ah yes. Spending time with his sister would be nice enough distraction. When life turns crazy, you can always find comfort in mind-numbing work. The boss, attention. The boss. Today is the day when we all make fun of a game master for his greatest and most failed of jokes. This is serious and I expect everyone to never let him live that down. Understood? The boss. Unless what just happened is actually a form of illusion quirk or something else that I was hit with. The boss. I still have issues with believing in what I just saw. Game Master what? Vampire Queen? Mad Scientist? Huh? Rockstar. Grabs popcorn. Prism, waiting for the tea. Uncle Giri, what is it this time? Gecko Man, huh? A school I can imagine it has to do with an insomniac? The boss at Game Master wanted Howler, that wolf girl from Kurogiri's class, to join the vanguard because she was a wolf girl and just like Decay our friend Insomniac is into girls with animal ears apparently. Gecko Man, hey that's both an idiot and a quirkist move. Purge the fakes, disappointed dot. Liveriffle, bad move dot. Silver Death, never thought I'll say it but I agree dot. World's A stage, quirkism isn't accepted here damn it. Game Master, she has skills and Kurogiri had nowhere else to send her. Game Master, that was just a side thing, I'd have taken her either way. I mean she is deadly and strong and skilled so. Game Master, that only sweetened the deal I swear. Gentle criminal. Also I get now why our dear friend at Insomniac is excluded from this conversation. Gentle hacker, oh dear. Oh. Deadpool, that just sounded like Nedzu. Game Master, so Eyebags and Wolfie finally ran into each other? And I missed it? The boss? How little you know, little man. How little you know. F school, now that's ominous. Echidna. Daddy, what's happening? This is starting to sound like some very good gossip. Laughing face. Posidone, I have a bad feeling. Titan, same. Unicorn, be positive. Papa would never let something bad happen. Vampire Queen, Prism, Rockstar, Mad Scientist, The boss, I love my daughter. X3. Eve. Eve, logically speaking, I think this is going to be one of those love at first sight I read about. The boss, not bad actually. 10 out of 10, my dear. If, happy. Game Master, he was probably super startled, XD. The boss, you know nothing, Tamura Shigaraki. Vampire Queen, come on, talk to us. Rockstar, yeah, I get the feeling it's going to be big. The boss, they met yesterday very late evening, right after everyone else went to sleep, when Howler sneaked out of her room and went to the living one. The boss, then things escalated. Burn Beach, how much? Oh. The boss, enough for Hitoshi to come to my office at 7 a.m. with Howler in tow, both of them officially informing me that they want to marry each other. Which they did. Awa's real name is now Chichi Shinso, and Hitoshi himself informed me that Shich has the most beautiful smile and he wants to do his best to protect it. That's an exact quote. Game Master, what the F? Oh. Burn Beach, F. It's contagious. Grab the cleaning materials, damn it. Purge the fakes, already on it. Live riffle, scrub, damn it. Scrub everything. Silver Death, I am making soap bombs. Vampire Queen, I missed a wedding. I wanted to be a flower girl. DX, Rockstar, WTF? Mad Scientist, oh. Prism, oh dear. Oh. Echidna, yeah away. XD. Posidone, Omidi. Titan Age Sievdenboal. Uncligiri, excuse me but what? Burn Beach at Team Caffeine got married? To a girl? F school, holy F, first at Game Master and at Insomniac. Gecko Man, WTF? Game Master, wow, that was a bit too overboard. Purge the fakes. Silver Death, you hypocrite, you came yesterday asking Deku to threaten Nedzu into finding a way for you to marry your woman. Echidna, wait a minute. Titan, you are speaking to a Game Master, right? Live riffle, exactly. Posidone, Uncle is getting married? Unicorn, Papa, you need to step up your game. Everyone is ahead of you, it seems. Vampire Queen, go tell him, honey. XD. Mad Scientist, yeah. Rockstar, heck yeah. Prism, yay. The boss, let me unpack this first, please. Vampire Queen, wait. Tamura is getting married. To a 3D girl? World's stage, oh my god. Gentle criminal, my word. Oh. Gentle hacker, yeah. XD. Gecko Man, Complex Mutant Quirks team scores another well-deserved victory. Burn Beach. My brain refuses to understand the words in front of me. The boss, welcome to my world at Burn Beach. The boss, they were holding hands. Oh. The boss, they embraced when I said that they are now married. The boss, Hitoshi the emotionless assassin, the purple-haired murder machine, was blushing like a little girl almost all the time. The boss, I still suspect that it might be some insanity quirk awakened by Rabbit because holy shit. Game Master, wow, that went south. Oh. Burn Beach, you think? The boss, alright, is there anything else I need to know? Burn Beach, doubtful. The boss, good. Shit, now I just need at Burn Beach and the whole family is married. Burn Beach, no thanks. Game Master, that's exactly what I said, but here we are. Burn Beach, normies all of you. Burn Beach, why the hell is it silent in here? The boss, give it a sec, they are hounding the couple. Air, you called for me, sir? Asked Rabbit shyly. She is deeply worried because she heard some people running around the building shouting earlier. But she expected some explosions and so on if the heroes found them, so Rabbit decided that it wasn't the case, but something that wasn't really her business. Oh yes, great. Karmasama smiled widely and vibrantly. The smile that would be mistaken from a saint instead of a demon lord. Which was impressive. Her current boss was doing something on a computer on his desk, but there are also some papers spread around. We had a bit of an interesting morning, so the start of your internship was a bit delayed. Sorry about that, by the way. Rabbit pushed away the feeling of danger that her paranoia was producing and instead focused on her growing curiosity. This sounds like something more hilarious than scary. What happened, sir? Curiosity always wins. It kills the cats though, not rabbits, so she was safe. Karmasama pointed her towards a chair right next to him. which she sat on, fully attending and laser-focused. Howler-chan met Hypnosis-kun yesterday evening, replied the boss. Love at first sight, believe it or not. They announced that they are getting married this morning. Can you believe it? Asked her boss, bewildered. Rabbit stared at him in shock. She just stared for a few seconds. I don't understand what happened either. Howler is going to get married? Didn't that require her to say yes at the very least? She never spoke as far as Rabbit could remember. Kurogiri-sensei mentioned that she could, but, well, Rabbit dreamed as a little girl of getting married herself. Having a man telling her that she was amazing and precious. That he loved her, but gave up as soon as she realized how cruel the world truly was. Her best shot at being a mother was one-night stands as a villain, and quirkless one, but now that she was getting a quirk, could she change that? Could she find someone to love? Someone to be loved by? Well, I'm going to introduce you to my current little project, announced the Emperor when Rabbit calmed down a bit from her internal thoughts. I'm planning something quite big for the next week, and I believe that you'll benefit greatly from taking part in it. Besides, I like the idea of having someone to narrate the whole thing to. I expect feedback from you if possible. Rabbit could do that. But before she had the time to say yes sir, the door to the office opened wide. She was greatly startled, and her hand went to her gun on her hip on reflex. It was just a girl with golden hair the same age as Karma-sama. Himiko Toga. One of her favorite teachers. Honey? She shouted. I have an important announcement to make. What is it, Himi-chan? I'm a bit busy, said the Emperor patiently. Rabbit likes that feature about him. Also, please don't scare my assistant, she is a bit jumpy. Karma-sama is wrong. Rabbit wasn't just jumpy. She was super jumpy outside of fights. There, she could focus on inflicting harm, instead of receiving it. Oh, that's your assistant? Bunny-chan. It's been a while. Toga-sensei waved cheerfully. Rabbit waved timidly. Giving her best attempt of a smile, it came out wobbly. Toga-sensei looked quizzically at her. What's wrong? Did your bio-dad have another child with some black-haired woman? She looks like you but smaller. And girly? She was confused. How is she similar to Karma-sama? He is so confident and powerful and dangerous, and she is just Rabbit. Small and timid. With a terrifying mind and incredible talent, whispered Mr. Principal into her mind. And he was right. She was smart and talented. Screw anxiety. You know, I'm starting to wonder about that myself? Karma-sama looked unsure himself. Weird. Now, what was it that you wanted to announce? We are getting married, announced Toga-sensei with a wide smile. Her vampire-like fangs showing and glinting in the light. Now Rabbit was confused. People can't just get married out of the blue like they can they? Didn't require papers, guardians and all? And a ring? When? Karma-sama appears to be as confused as Rabbit, who in the meantime was busy asking herself if you should get confused by the idea of getting married with someone. Is something to be happy about. Right now? I mean like Hitoshi-kun did? The rest of the girls went to missions and I'm going too, but I wanted to inform you that we are now your wives, explained Toga-sensei. Looking satisfied. We can have a party later. Also, we're taking your surname because it's lovely, and mine reminds me of my parents and they sucked. Rabbit could definitely relate to the last bit. And yours is super awesome. Rabbit could unfortunately no longer relate. Oh, okay. Karma-sama said slowly, clearly taken aback with what just happened. I, Deku Shigaraki, with the power given to me as the demon lord of evil and the righteous emperor of villains, declare myself, and you, Himiko Toga now Shigaraki, to be husband and wife. We are married now. I'll do something similar with the girls later. Awesome, bye, squealed Vampire loudly and disappeared from the room at lightning speed. The boss stared at the now closed door for a few long seconds before finally speaking. What the hell is wrong with this day? Rabbit was slightly reassured by not being the most confused person in the room. Alright, let's move to the internship before something even weirder happens. Rabbit is alright with that. Usagi Midori, can you guys do something for me? Sad face. Mirio Togata. No. Katsuki Bakugo. F off. Usagi Midori, it's not illegal. Smiley face. Mirio Togata. Still no but. Katsuki Bakugo, this time with a thin asinine field for negotiation. Mirio Togata, so what is it that you want? Usagi Midori. Vampire wants to know if there is a way to change her wanted posters from Himiko Toga to Himiko Shigaraki. Oh. Mirio Togata. Katsuki Bakugo. Oh. Mirio Togata, you got married? Usagi Midori, yes. Oh. Mirio Togata. Congratulations. What address do I need to send my gift to? Katsuki Bakugo. Same here, it's pretty wild one, do be careful. Usagi Midori. Are your gifts a brigade of high-ranked heroes to arrest me plus the two of you? Mirio Togata. Yes, laughing face. Katsuki, you're seriously asking? Usagi Midori. Fair. Usagi Midori. I'm hiding in the Prime Minister Mizuki's office. Oh, and Dr. Evil is the Hero Commission's president office too. Laughing face. Mirio Togata. There is certainly a villain hiding there, but most likely not you. Katsuki Bakugo, but somehow much worse. Mirio Togata. Right? Usagi Midori. Ah. Omega. Mirio Togata. Also congratulations this time for real. Smiley face. Mirio Togata. You're my arch nemesis, but you really deserve some happiness. Katsuki Bakugo. Right before we shove yours into Tartarus. Usagi Midori. Best of luck with that, seriously. XD. Mirio Togata. I was kinda wondering how long will that take you. Katsuki Bakugo. Now that's just terrific. How the F did that happen? Usagi Midori. A wolf girl joined yesterday, one of my adopted brothers, like animal ears, love at first sight, met last night, 7 a.m. they came to me asking to be wedded to each other. Mirio Togata. Oh. Katsuki Bakugo. Holy FOO. Usagi Midori. I'm so done with this shit, I really relate to Eraserhead right now. Usagi Midori. Now the girls were inspired, for this minute it's just Himi-chan, but by tonight I'll have 5 wives. Holy shit. Katsuki Bakugo. Hang in there, nerd. Virtual pat on the back in solidarity, it could be way worse. I mean, it's not like your daughters will try they. Usagi Midori. If that happens, expect some massacres. Katsuki Bakugo. Mood? Mirio Togata. Mood? Usagi Midori. How's it with your... What do we even call them? Mirio Togata? His admirers? Crushers? Katsuki Bakugo. Screw you both. Usagi Midori. Who is in this whole thing anyways? Usagi Midori. Besides Kodai, because it was obvious. Mirio Togata. Erasure and Hatsum, I guess. Katsuki Bakugo. And a friend of mine with an intelligence quirk. Usagi Midori. Interesting. Usagi Midori. One advice: if you can't beast them, join them. Katsuki Bakugo. How's Andy taking this? Usagi Midori. Oh boy. Where do we even begin? Morning came out too early for the students after their long night of chatting and playing. Most of them watched movies in their rooms, had group chats, or played group video games online for the boys while the girls had their sleepover. But everyone didn't sleep until at least 1 in the morning or at the midnight in the earliest. So waking up was one hell of an effort, especially that everyone had to wake up at 7 to prepare for the training at 8. The students started groggily filling the first floor to find some of the students like Rikido, Tsuyu and Katsuki along with Mira, Itsuka and Pony in the kitchen making something for breakfast. Oh, hey guys, what are you making? Asked Denki as he popped his head into the kitchen to see the students in the kitchen working on some cake mix. We are making pancakes. I hope you like them, said Itsuka with a smile as she handed Katsuki the mix, which he started to pour into the pan, making the circular flat cakes. Someone grab some plates and batter and syrup. Without them the cakes will be tasteless, grumbled Katsuki as he skillfully flipped the cakes to the plate offered to him. Denki let out a whistle at the show. Damn bro. Where did you learn to use the pan like that? You're like a chef. Itsuka gave him a deadpan look. Kaminari-kun, he practically made us a Spanish dish for dinner. He is a chef, said Itsuka as she handed him a plate with pancakes in them. Put that on the table, we'll get you guys more in a bit. And some coffee too. Denki nodded his head with a grin before walking off. 10 minutes later. This is the best morning in my life, declared Hanta as he stuffed his mouth with wild berry pancakes and syrup. The rest of the students weren't doing any better, as they are like a bunch of hooligans. Except for Tenya was eating like a proper hooligan. You can say that again, man, I'll say it. Seriously Bakugo, from a man to another, you should really consider opening a cafe/restaurant as a side job. Your PR will shoot to the moon. And your profit, said Yosetsu with a mouthful of pancakes. I'll totally be a regular. Same here man, same here, this food is something I could get used to, grinned Tagaru. Your parents will really miss your cooking. I'll bet on it. Maybe. I actually like mixing shit in the kitchen. In fact, Hound Dog encouraged it as a relaxation activity or whatever the F. I just know that I can cut and stab and mash something, and set them on fire without being arrested. And I get praise for it. So, Katsuki shrugged. Well, at least you get rid of your anger in more civil ways. Sweat dropped Momo as she enjoyed the food. She never before got to test Western food like this with her parents. Being angry isn't a choice for me, Ponytail. It's a lifestyle. Katsuki smirked. And that's why you don't have a girlfriend, said Mineta with a deadpan. At least girls don't grab their phones to call the teacher if I walk by the girls' bathroom, grape midget. Snapped Katsuki, earning many snickers in the room. So you even slapped Mineta with her tongue. And I don't give a f if girls don't like me. I was never good with them anyways. Says the winner of the school's popularity poll in the internet for the best boy in our grade, Ribbit, said Tsuyu bluntly as she was eating. That made Katsuki and some of the other boys choke on the food in their own spit as the girls blushed, or tried to avoid their gazes. That's actually a thing? Asked Denki, surprised such a thing exists. The girls nodded their heads in embarrassment. It's apparently something Midnight came up with and got officially approved somehow, explained Momo helpfully but was blushing furiously. And somehow I pulled the win, said Katsuki skeptically. Well, second place was Todoroki, but you beating up bullies and helping Gen Ed students become heroes turned out to be a massive boost to your reputation too, shrugged Mira. Plus you're not bad looking either. The complete opposite in fact, said Yui bluntly. Does that mean Bakugo has fangirls like the ones in TV? Asked Shoto curiously, tilting his head in curiosity while everyone tried not to laugh while Yui and Mira looked murderous. Katsuki looked around at them for a second before standing up quietly. I'm totally gonna need every drop of this if I'm gonna go through this day, sighed Katsuki. What's that? Asked Nito skeptical. My traditional Bakugo family's secret hell coffee. A cup of this is stronger than the most powerful of energy drinks you could buy on the market. And yes, Four Eyes, there is nothing illegal in this coffee, added Katsuki when Tenya opened his mouth. Yup, totally the best morning, decided Denki. As I mentioned yesterday, the 3 classes of the hero course will be focusing on getting their provisional licenses, announced Shoyuta to his class as soon as the students were seated. A hero license bears with it the great responsibility of human life. Of course, the exam to receive one is very difficult. Even the provisional license has only a 50% passing rate each year. While the students couldn't help but mutter about how strict the testing was, Shoyuta continued on, unfazed by their worries and his students' whispers. That's why today we will have each of you come up with at least 2 ultimate moves. At that last statement, the door opened up to reveal Midnight, Cementos and Ectoplasm. The students all began to cheer in excitement at this before Shoyuta had them change into their hero costumes and meet up at Gym Gamma, otherwise known as Training Dining Land, or TDL for short. Why do all their abbreviations match famous amusement parks? Thought most of the class of 1A while Cementos explained more about the facility to the students. Well, the exception was Katsuki, who deadpanned and thought that Rat always tries to satisfy his ego in the weirdest of ways. Tenya couldn't help but ask why ultimate moves were necessary for the provisional exam, so Shoyuta and the others slowly explained the importance of it, as fighting ability weighed heavily in the exams. Cementos soon finished creating the landscape while Ectoplasm created clones for the students to spar against. For the remaining days of summer break, you'll all be developing your ultimate moves as well as your quirks, so don't slack off, explained Shoyuta, looking more tired than usual for some reason. This will be an intensive boot camp for you all. In addition, consider how you can improve your costumes to work better with your developing quirks. Get through this with a plus ultra mentality. Are you all ready? Yes, came out the unified reply. Good, nodded Shoyuta before looking at Katsuki, who looked back questioningly. Bakugo, why don't you come here and give everyone a demonstration of what you can do? I know that you have multiple super moves. Katsuki raised a skeptical eyebrow at that before shrugging his shoulders in acceptance. Sure thing, guess you want me to give an explanation to these idiots too? To give some inspiration? Guessed Katsuki casually as Shoyuta nodded. Something like that, he confirmed. Katsuki looked at the different platforms around him before smirking, deciding to start his demonstration with mobility instead of offensive moves. Explosive speed, yelled Katsuki as his hands exploded with multiple sparks. The class noted how this time his explosions were more similar to countless small explosions instead of a huge one. He was quickly blasted forward as he used the explosions to sail through the air in extremely high speeds, and in only few seconds he crossed all the platforms and maneuvered around them. Man, I can't even follow him properly, only the explosions he leaves behind, how can he even react? Lame Ted Hanta looking confused. So, can anyone explain what they super move was for? Asked Shoyuta as Katsuki blasted back to the group. To nobody's surprise it was Ochako who raised her hand to answer. Shoyuta nodded her to explain and she beamed happily as she pulled a notebook from God knows where and started reading. Well, explosive speed is a super move used by Katsuki Bakugo, and it's a move used to increase his mobility specifically. Katsuki-kun throws his hands back and uses explosions to propel himself. He uses this both on the ground to increase his speed and through the air to achieve a pseudo form of flight. He first used this technique on the ground during the quirk apprehension test. The first time he used it to fly was during the USJ. After the internships he started using the same blasts in his feet to give himself more fighting freedom in mid-air. There was a pause before Katsuki chuckled. "Nerd?" He teased with the class breaking into snickers, to which Ochako stuck her tongue out to him. The snickers was turned to full-blown laughter. You said mobility, Ochako-chan?" questioned Tsuyu, putting up her finger to her chin. Ochako nodded. "You mean super moves aren't just for attacks?" "Not necessarily," chimed in Midnight. Everyone turned their attention to the R-rated heroine, and she started speaking. Super moves are basically incorporating your quirks with special uses that you don't do that normally by adding some form of manipulation and creativity and concentration. So like you saw with Bakugo-kun when he used his explosions, which is just causing explosions from his palms basically to fly through the air. That's a super move, and the point of it is increasing mobility. And now that I spoke about it, yes, super moves are used for offense like All Might using his wind pressure attacks, but he also uses it for defense to deflect incoming attacks to him and even fly in the air by kicking the air hard enough to push himself forward. And super moves aren't only limited to quirks, you could use special martial arts moves and take down as super moves. And even using support gear and combat techniques on their own without incorporating the quirks can count as a super move as well. Was my explanation useful? There was a pause before everyone nodded their heads in acceptance and understanding, while vocalizing their thanks. So, basically Sensei wrapping few low-ranked villains with his scarf and swinging them more villains like they were hammers connected to a chain counts a super move? Asked Kaminari surprisingly. Katsuki could swear he caught Shoyuta smiling before he hid it under his mask. Midnight just giggled and nodded. "I see you found some of the internet vids. Yes, that's definitely a super move." Seeing that they have a lot more options for super moves than they initially thought, everyone rushed to get into their positions and start on the work, all the cheerfulness gone, replaced with cold determination instead as they started thinking of the summer camp and how helpless they felt. Katsuki looked at the clone in front of him before he blasted with cluster into the wall behind it. Katsuki right away blasted to the left while the clone turned to the wall, landing on its right. Before it could turn though, Katsuki shot it with his AP shot, destroying it instantly. Katsuki sighed. This one took less than 2 seconds. He never thought that getting faster after training with Gran Torino will get problematic like this. There was also the fact that he was lacking inspiration too. Maybe if he went through what he already has he'll get some new ideas? After all, if he recalled everything he has he should notice something missing, right? Well, to sum up his move are explosive speed. He throws his hands back and uses explosions to propel himself. He uses this both on the ground to increase his speed and through the air to achieve a pseudo form of flight. Stun grenade. He starts by creating a sphere of light between his hands that explodes into a large-scale flash. Similar to the effect of an actual stun grenade, the flash of light blinds anyone close by. Point-blank stun grenade. A variation where he fires off his stun grenade at point-blank range of the opponent to immediately stun and immobilize them with little lasting damage. But the problem is that he could blind his comrades, so he sticks to the normal stun grenade when he doesn't solo in fights. Howitzer impact. This move is the strongest move in his arsenal, which involves him taking to the air, and then using explosions to propel himself in a circular motion to create a tornado. This tornado builds up oxygen to fuel the incoming explosion. After colliding with the target, he releases the powerful aforementioned explosion. He remembers Cheeks comparing the effectiveness of the technique to that of an actual missile, and after his quirk awakening to a huge rocket if he wasn't careful. AP shot. He stretches out one of his hands and uses his other hand to form a circle on the palm of his outstretched hand. He then fires an explosion through the circle, which creates a concentrated blast beam. By focusing the path of his explosions into a single point instead of around his whole palm, Katsuki creates a concentrated blast with reduced area of impact, but with enough power to successfully pierce solid concrete. And after his quirk awakening he can gather even more sweat into a single point to pierce through Deku's barriers, which All Might somehow holy shit didn't manage. AP shot, autocannon, a rapid-fire version of his AP shot technique. The explosion power is reduced in order to avoid dealing severe damage to human targets. AP machine gun, a stronger version of his AP shot, autocannon where he fires larger, rapid-fire explosions. He remembers when he first used this technique against All Might, he said that it stings a lot and caused him bruises. Landmine blast. He places his two hands on the ground and after gathering enough nitroglycerin he lets of a massive explosion into the ground, blowing back any obstacles surrounding him. Hey Bakugo. Stop standing there and don't slack off. Just because you have some ultimate moves doesn't mean you get to stand doing nothing, lectured Midnight as she passed by. I'm not standing doing nothing, Katsuki snapped. I'm recalling what I already have to see if there's some adjustments I need to add, or something I am missing. I don't stand doing nothing like a damn loser. Midnight nodded at him approvingly before walking to someone else. Katsuki sighed and looked around seeing his classmates eagerly utilizing their quirks. He noticed All Might enter the gym before deciding to focus on his own training. The doors to the gym were pushed open, and from them entered Toshinori Yagi dressed in his hero costume despite not being in his hero form, but even then he still looked fitting somewhat in the clothes. Some people glanced at his direction before some of the students waved at him. Ah! Good morning, young heroes. I'm happy to see everyone being so energetic despite it being early, declared Toshinori as he walked through the doors into the gym. Oh, All Might, you're here? Smiled Midnight while Shoyuta was busy lecturing Denki on the importance of being careful when he tries to taser people with his hands. Yes, I am here. To oversee the training of my talented and hard-working students, grinned Toshinori while striking a pose. Midnight giggled. Even when not overly buff you're so cheerful and in character, she mused, to which Toshinori shrugged his shoulders. Well, I guess when raising my voice doesn't make my stomach ache I decided to make the most of it, responded Toshinori, to which Midnight. Wow, All Might, is that you? Gaped Kirishima before walking to him looking awestruck. Damn, even without your quirk you got some manly muscles in there. Come on, you gotta give me your workout regime. Toshinori chuckled seeing his student pleading before patting his head. Of course. I'll design one for you and young Tetsutetsu and give it to you tomorrow. How does that sound? Ijuru gave a wide and sharp-toothed grin at that. Thanks a lot, sir. Toshinori nodded before motioning to the wall. So why don't you show me what you working on? Ijuru nodded before he explained to Toshinori his new super move. Red Counter, which while hardened, Ijuru endures a close-range attack with his skin and then counters with a straight punch. Alright then. Then let's test it against some low-level punches, offered the number one hero, to which Ijuru grinned and hardened his skin to the max. Toshinori unleashed one for all, deciding that 15% would be enough to test Ijuru's endurance and timing. His body grew in size and his costume became fully fitting in his body as the two strands of hair hanging loosely on the sides of his head went up. He gave his signature grin. Alright, young Kirishima, let's see you handling this. And with that declaration All Might threw a barrage of fast fists to the boy as he crossed his arms. After a few seconds of attacking, All Might paused for a single second, which Ijuru took as his chance to jump close and throw a right straight punch. All Might of course blocked it, but was still smiling. If it was someone slightly slower then you would have caught them off guard. Good job, young man. Keep up the hard, exclaimed All Might before slapping the boy on the back with maybe more strength than necessary. To which poor Ijuru slid on the floor for a few seconds before standing up and giving a thumbs up indicating he was okay. Toshinori shrunk back to his normal form and started walking again between the students, noting how Rikido and Mashirao were sparring together, with Mashiroa giving pointers to Rikido who was listening intently. He also saw young Yaoyorozu swinging on what looked like a rope between the platforms before she created a net that she threw at the ectoplasm clone. Impressive technique. He also noted how young Azui was scaling the walls quickly and how young Uraraka was bouncing between the walls before the axe kick the clone ectoplasm gave her while yelling out "Moonfall," which he is sure is a homage to Maruko. Then again, didn't they intern together? Hey, All Might. Over here if you have the time, called out Denki to Toshinori. Toshinori smiled before he went through the stairs Cementos had made to reach the blonde electric quirk user who was grinning widely. The fire in his eyes was impressive in Toshinori's opinion. So what is that you need, young Kaminari? I am your teacher, so don't shy away from asking me for help, boomed Toshinori while Denki nodded. I just wanted to see how fast I am compared to you, if don't mind. I mean, I've been training my new technique since the internships, but I barely used it until the cheerfulness was gone from Denki's face. The summer camp's war. Toshinori nodded grimly at that before smiling and patting the boy's head. The younger blonde looked up to see Toshinori smiling at him kindly. You did great, young man. Not only did you survive without any lasting injuries, but you also helped others reach safety. And now, it's admirable that you're trying to get stronger, to use your fears and worries to move forward. Thanks, said Denki, managing to smile. It was wobbly and a bit forced, but hey, better than nothing, right? The summer camp was a disaster, and the fact that he was alive was a miracle. He barely managed to convince his parents to let him keep attending the school. Yes, the summer camp war was a living horror. But he couldn't turn his back on his friends, he just couldn't. No problem, young man. Now show me that speed of yours, declared Toshinori as he transformed into his hero persona and took a step back. Denki nodded before closing his eyes. His body crackled before it started sparking with electricity, and small arcs of it started cracking around him in arcs. As he opened his eyes, some lines of electricity was glinting from his yellow eyes. Denki took a breath and as released it, he bolted. Toshinori moved to the side as the boy tried to tag him, impressed with the speed of the dash. The boy passed by him with electricity trailing behind him. He instantly turned back and went for another grab, to which All Might dodged. Your speed is truly impressive, young Kaminari, declared All Might as he dodged and weaved and sidestepped the living lightning bolt. And he was meaning everyone character in hat sentence. The boy was insanely fast. He was literally a lightning bolt shooting from point A on one of All Might's sides to the other as Toshinori dodged. Unlike All Might, his speed was just that. He didn't have All Might's brute strength or durability, just the speed to give him a workout, but with him being a living taser he didn't really need brute strength, did he? But you need to step up your game to tag me? Denki stopped before nodding. Alright then. I got it, he called out before the electric discharge intensified. And then he blasted forward. To which as All Might quickly dodged, Denki was able to graze his arm, causing him to twitch, but the poor boy ended up running face first into a wall, and yelped in pain as he let go of his technique and fell to the ground clutching his nose. Toshinori quickly reverted back to his normal size and went quickly to the boy to check on him. That was a mean impact after all. Are you alright, young man? Denki nodded his head. Yes sir, I'm fine. I mean, yeah, it stings, but at least I have another reason to master my speed even more. Denki then smirked. And I managed to touch you? Toshinori blinked before he started laughing loudly and boisterously. Indeed you did. Keep up the good work, young man. And with that, Toshinori walked off. I should go see Cross Eyes, she usually has some crazy ideas I could use to my advantage. She's a weirdo, but the useful type of weirdo, grumbled Katsuki, walking towards the development studio within the school on the first floor. While most of the students were filling out of the gym, Katsuki decided that he wanted to check if he could get some upgrades to his gear. After all, he was more dependent on his quirk than support items, and while het was usually a good thing, the backlash from his quirk was increasing the stronger he got, and he really wishes he could contact Christina for new soft gauntlets like the ones from before. Stopping in front of the development studio, Katsuki couldn't help but notice the large steel doors that were bolted into the walls were bigger and more fortified than last time he was here. Which was weird, but he wasn't going to complain. Katsuki-kun, a familiar and extremely cheerful voice called out. Katsuki turned to see Ochako, Tenya, Momo, Denki, Hanta and Tokoyami walking towards him. Just as he was about to respond while opening the door, he jumped backwards as was greeted with an explosion that covered him and everything around him in smoke. Damn it, Hatsum. This is the third time this week you blew something up like this, snapped the voice of Power Loaders from inside the studio. I feel like all the safety protocols I keep explaining to you go through one ear to exit from the other. And? May's voice sounded practically careless at the scolding. As the smoke cleared, everyone burst in laughter at the current scene they were witnessing. Katsuki was standing, with his body looking about to be crushed under the weight he was lifting as he was holding the gate that burst off its hinges over his head, with May somehow on top of him with her chest literally on his face. If it was Mira or Yui, maybe everyone would have assumed it was intentional, but since it was May Hatsum, the resident mad engineer, and probably someone more dense, Hena Rock, it was just sheer luck that got him to get a girl's big mind you chest shoved into his face. As Power Loader came out and saw he current scenery, he groaned loudly and slapped his forehead. Damn it, Hatsum. You really shouldn't think of putting everything you think together, coughed Power Loader as he managed to step outside the hallway, away from the smoke. Hee, failure is the mother of invention, bragged May as she patted Katsuki's head, who growled like a furious lion. As Thomas Edison once said, even if what I made doesn't work the way I planned, that doesn't mean it's a waste of time. This isn't the time for that, scolded Power Loader. You could have hurt one of your classmates in here. We were all wearing protective gear before I went at it, pouted May, while still clinging to Katsuki, whose eye was twitching violently. I at least learned that. Oh yeah. Well, this time you put another student in danger with your stunt. Oh, Splody? He loves my explosions. And he is practically explosion-proof. This tough guy wouldn't get hurt even if I tried to harm him. Right, Splody? Exclaimed May, ruffling his spiky ash-blonde hair with a grin. Still clinging on him, with her chest shoved into his amusingly red face. Cross Eyes, you got exactly 10 seconds to get off me, and help me put down this heavy gate before I decide to find a new personal engineer for my and my entire class's gear. One that wouldn't blow me up by accident at that, growled. Katsuki threateningly, though it came out slightly muffled. Much to everyone's shock and disbelief and slight awe, the pink-haired girl not only paled like a sheet but swiftly jumped off of the mad bomber with a squeak of fear. Then she quickly helped him put down the steel gate to the side and even went as far as to dust him off. Power Loader in particular looked amazed by someone actually managing to threaten her. And as Denki called it, he saw God. "Are you both all right?" asked Power Loader as he approached Katsuki and Mei. He knew that these two in particular were practically immune to something like this. But as a teacher he still had to ask them both. "Fine, fine," answered Katsuki and Mei simultaneously as they stood back up. "Oh Bakugo. Are you all right?" "That was a strong explosion that happened," said Momo worriedly, though not too worried as Katsuki was explosion-proof for the most part, and immune to weak explosions like this one. "I said fine," scowled Katsuki as they entered the studio. "You sure, man? That was quite the explosion in there," insisted Ijuru, and Denki snickered. "Dude, this is Bakugo we are talking about. He can take a rocket to the face and he would still ask what's the main dish. That's not even a snack," bragged Denki as he slung an arm over his shoulder, to which Katsuki was busy gloating and smirking to shrug off. "To be honest, I could imagine that scene and it's honestly funny," chuckled Ochako, seeing Katsuki and Mei reminded her of Deku and Toga in a way. "It was hilarious. You seem familiar with the place, Bakugo. You came here on your own after all," observed Tenya, to which Katsuki grunted. "Yeah, I come here often for upgrades. The chick is crazy but smart. And her shit is good quality. The best actually," shrugged Katsuki as they got in. "Though I wish I don't get blown the F up every time I come here, I swear to all might, it's almost like this chick is doing it on purpose." His friends shared a look behind his back, not that he noticed it. Deki was busy marveling on the fact that Katsuki got a face covered with a beautiful girl's front, and feeling jealous. "Ah, it's been a while. You all are Hero Corps students. I've forgotten your names though," greeted Mei without hesitation. Tenya promptly introduced himself, only to be shocked when Mei barely acknowledged him, turning around to head back inside the development room. "Handsome. At least have the courtesy of making sure your fellow students are all right after your own inventions explode," scolded Power Loader before turning to the students. "So what brings you all here anyway?" "Well, I was thinking of some costume improvements," started Ochako, only for Mei to suddenly cut right in front of her with a wide grin. "Improvements?" asked Mei with her eyes sparkling, her grin almost unhinged. "Sounds interesting." "Handsome," scolded Power Loader once more. "It's fine for you to come in and out of the studio now that a dorm system is in place, but if you keep going wild here, I'm going to have to banish you." Mei just pouted at him with puppy eyes as Power Loader was going to give up. Katsuki grabbed her arm and yanked her to the side of the room away from most of the other students and the extremely grateful Power Loader. "Hey, forget about these idiots, damn it. I need some adjustments to my suit and gauntlets and even my boots. And I need new weapons," barked Katsuki. Mei beamed at him, her eyes shining. "'Kay, I'm game. Let's make some cute babies together," she agreed instantly, hearing him wishing for so many stuff. Those words in any other circumstances are atrocious to use in public, but this is handsome, so everyone just sighed in relief. Seeing Mei behave and busy fawning over Katsuki, Power Loader sighed before turning toward the students, explaining that he knew what they were coming over for before inviting them in. After a short explanation, he turned around to them once more before asking what they wanted. "I do apologize for her behavior as she's quite self-centered, but as an inventor, she is especially talented. It would do well to invest in a relationship with her," apologized Power Loader while advising the up-and-coming heroes, to which they looked at him intrigued. "That mountain of items in the corner over there are all the support items Handsome herself has created since she started here. Even on school holidays she's in the lab tinkering away at new inventions. Over the years as the head of the Department of Support, Handsome is one of a kind." They looked to see indeed a mountain of gadgets and support items in the corner of the room while other students worked in peace now that Handsome was busy. The students began to look at Mei in a new light. Until something she gave to Katsuki that looked like a pair of boots exploded, causing him to swear colorfully and the support students to snicker quietly, afraid if invoking the wrath of the first year's king. "So, what improvements can I help you with?" asked Power Loader as the air was promptly cleared up once more, and Katsuki stopped swearing like a pirate. Some of the other students, seeing that Mei was busy and put away, joined in on the conversation. "Yeah, it would be good to have experience dealing with hero students. My name is Nanao Motoki." "Nice to meet you," said a girl with orange hair pulled into a bun and stabbed with pencil. The rest of the support students introduced themselves, with the hero student doing the same, before Momo thought of what Power Loader asked. I'm not sure at the moment, but perhaps my costume could be updated, shrugged Momo as she looked down to herself. Nanao had to admit, it was quite revealing, but she understood the reason for it. Nonetheless, she pulled up relevant files on the computer, making a few edits here and there. Humming to herself while doing so. What do you think of a backless halter top? Suggested Nanao with a gentle smile. I know you can always recreate your uniform with your quirk, but with an exposed back, you can create more items without ripping your uniform. We can still keep the chest window open with a cross-wrap style. It should still be enough to be compliant with the regulations for exposed skin in costumes bill. I think these modifications can make it through approval. If you want, I can also have it so the chest window can be covered when you're not on active duty, and pull when you need it. That would be most gracious. Thank you a lot, nodded Momo, observing the designs that Nanao had made. Granted she could create her own hero costume whenever it ripped, she would rather only have to make it if it was damaged from other sources, and not from herself. With the new modification she had more area on her body to create something. I have to ask though, what's with the book? Asked Nanao confused as she was typing in some more modifications. It's my Dictionary, a lexicon that's composed of constructs and materials that comes into my mind that I might need to refer back to, answered Momo helpfully. Though I've memorized a great deal already, it doesn't hurt to have a backup in case of emergencies. Also, if needed, it can be used as a blunt weapon. If I might add a suggestion, piped in Ochako, while she was talking with a brown-haired boy with glasses, who was working on a laptop similarly to what Nanao was doing. Why not get some sort of mobile computer with a holographic display like Aizawa-sensei has on his phone? Maybe put it on a watch on your wrist so it's easier to pull up and put on display, instead of flipping through your book. And have it connected to a voice search too? An excellent suggestion, but I can do you one better, smirked Nanao, swiveling her chair around. Hatsum, where's the HUD visor that you showed me? I need to borrow it real quick. You mean baby number 12? It's over there, pointed May to a smaller pile at another corner. Fumikage, who was speaking with a blonde girl about flash grenades, sent Dark Shadow to look for it. The sentient shadow started to sift through until Nanao told him he found it. Grabbing it, the shadow quickly had it tossed over to Nanao, prying open the side to reveal wires and ports. Just need to make a few modifications, hummed Nanao as she took out her toolkit, then started working quickly for few minutes before finally connecting the visor to her computer. Here where this first, said Nanao cheerfully, holding up the visor. Momo, slightly confused, did so, wondering where the girl was going with this. Originally Hatsum had planned to use this to help support rescue heroes, using its inbuilt camera to help magnify objects. That failed when the camera wouldn't stop moving around too much, but for this purpose it should work. With a click of a button, Momo saw several chemical compounds appear on the visor, solid enough to see it easily, but also clear enough that it didn't impede her vision. Give me enough time with Hatsum and Sensei, and I can make it so it's voice-activated, compact, and able to retract when it's not needed. I can easily make it have at least 1 terabyte of memory that you can easily modify what you want inside if you connect it to your computer, offered Nanao, smirking in satisfaction. So, want that upgrade? Momo eagerly nodded at that offer. This was a chance to help improve herself even further, and especially with the provisional license exam coming around the corner. Nanao nodded as she quickly compiled the request form before giving it to Power Loader, who took it quickly. The 3 classes of 1A, 1B and 1C would pop in and out of the development lab, making requests or brainstorming ideas with the other students. Ideas and inventions came flying out of the lab, costumes were upgraded. Soon enough, it will be time for the provisional license exam. And they will be ready. The 3 classes of 1A, 1B and 1C would pop in and out of the development lab, making requests or brainstorming ideas with the other students. Ideas and inventions came flying out of the lab, costumes were upgraded. Soon enough, it will be time for the provisional license exam. And they will be ready. Today was a long day, moaned Mina as she plopped down on the love seat in the common room. Momo was nice enough to make extra seats to the point now all the girls had their own seats. It was nighttime now, and the girls were hanging out before going to bed. Katsuki, with some help this time, had cooked them ramen on Iber's request, and he accepted the request with surprising carefreeness. Not that they complained. The ramen was heavenly, that was for sure. Well, yes. But it's necessary if we want to pass our license exam, Mina-chan. You heard the teachers, the exam has a 50% passing rate at best. So it'll be very hard for most students and more for us, the first-year students, since we are younger, explained Itsuka helpfully. Yeah right, I want to see the other students being attacked by villains constantly and see how they do and if they're better, scoffed Mira while sipping on some tea Momo had brewed. Yeah, I guess our more experienced Ochako stopped as her phone started vibrating. Huh. It's who? Asked Setsuna seeing Ochako blink at the ringing phone. It's Toru-chan? That's her number for sure. The girls almost jumped out of their seats at that. Really? Answer it. We haven't talked in a while, said Mina quickly. Whoa. Did you forget they are villains? Asked Setsuna quickly. Yeah, but they saved our lives. And plus, even then you know our friendship was genuine, so maybe they need help or something. So you argued. There was a pause. Then Mina snatched the ringing phone and answered the call eagerly. Hey Toru-chan. We missed you, grinned Mina widely as she put the phone on speaker for all to hear. Hey Mina-chan. It's been a while I guess? Toru sounded happy but confused. Yes it was. We missed you. How's it going? Are you okay? Why did you call? Mina asked quickly. Oh, Ochako-chan was always like a sister to me. I thought of getting her the news first, but I guess no problem telling you too. Toru said happily or tearfully. You're on speaker, Rainbow Girl. What do you have to say? All the girls are here, grinned Setsuna into the phone. There was a pause before Toru spoke. Do you promise not to judge? Unless you're going to bring up a murder, no we won't, said Mira confidently with the other girls humming along although confused. There was a longer pause. I got married, Toru admitted finally. There was a second of heavy absolute silence. Only a second before the room exploded with shouts and squeals and so on. I need the details. Who did you marry? How did this happen? I need to know so damn much. Mina practically screeched at the phone. Me and the other girls kinda married Shigaraki-sama today, explained Toru. Holy shit. Not just you. Who the F else? Gaped Saya. The other girls were doing the same but silently. There is me, Kyo-chan, Vampire-chan, Shield Maiden-chan, and Consequence-chan. There was more chaos. How the hell did this happen? Asked Pony, her Japanese improve MD enough for her to follow, albeit barely. How about I make us a chat and I invite you to it to talk? It's a funny story actually. This is one hell of a weird evening, but they will tag along if only because they can't sleep at night without answers. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through What If Deku Became the Villain Emperor. I hope you found it as intriguing and thought-provoking as we did. A big shout out to DekuVerse for crafting such a compelling story. Don't forget to check out their profile on Archive of Our Own for more amazing works. The link is in the description below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to What If Deku 2.0 for more fascinating explorations into the world of fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we're always excited to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments section. See you guys in the next video.